All right. I can't believe I just made it on time and not a minute late. Not a second late. Not a moment to spare. Everything went according to plan, and we're all here and ready, in attendance and perfect. And time to read some Percy Jackson. I know what you're thinking. He's never been more on time than he has been today. And that is a true sentence. An extremely true sentence. Oh, baby. Here we go. I see there's a lot of comments here. Oh dear. Yo, I finally made it to a stream. Let's go. A212 Cabin 20. Glad to see you are on time here as well. We're all on time. Everybody is, especially me. So yeah, but we're about to get into Son of Neptune, the War Games. Finally, I am extremely excited for this one because it seems like the plot is about to kick in. It seems like we're pretty much at least mostly, if not almost, done with the setup. I was starved for 31 minutes. I don't know why you are early, Bonnie. The stream said 8 o'clock, and that's the time that I arrived. We're all on the same page here except for you. I don't know what's going on. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it seems like we're almost done with the setup. It seems like we're almost done, and yes, I'm doing that right now. Thank you, Anthony. The plot is about to kick in, so I'm excited. Pretty much every single character has been introduced at this point. So all we have to do is show them that Percy's the goat, and then get Reyna to give us a quest, or do the Percy Jackson thing and leave without permission. And then, you know, the adventure will begin. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. We didn't really, what happened last time? We met Frank, found out about his dope Asian grandma who was super mean, but also really, you know, had all the wisdom. Found out that she knew that he was a demigod or something, some weird stuff. And what else? Talked to the super evil dude who wants to take over Camp Jupiter. Yeah, all that, etc., etc. Music's playing, right? Yes, the music is playing. Lovely. Yes, that's everything that happened. I'm super on time, so we're gonna start it. Because no need to delay any further. I've already delayed enough. Percy might actually be related to Grover. He is half god, half 100% god. Listen, I know Grover's not in this series, but I at least know he's not a prominent role. I hope he at least appears, like at least once, because I miss Grover and I love him. But all right, yeah, let's not waste time, because we're not gonna be try to stream for 2 hours again. And yeah, we've already wasted enough time as it is, and so yeah, let's get into it this time. Percy, about to show him what he can do. War Games, you love to see it. Also, I don't know what you guys read. I don't know if you guys only read Percy, but where the fuck is it? I've been reading. I started Mistborn also, just kind of off stream on myself. I don't know if you guys read Mistborn. I don't know if you guys read Sanderson, but it's interesting so far. So yeah, let me know if you guys what you guys' opinions are on that, because I'm trying to get into other fantasy stuff. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are. Grover's off with his bush girlfriend. Let him have his peace. That's true. My boy's basically married, so I'll let him do his thing. He don't need to be going on adventures. But all right, let's get into Son of Neptune. Frank, chapter 11. Frank had never felt so sure of anything, which made him nervous. Nothing he planned ever went right. He always managed to break, ruin, burn, sit on, or knock over something important, yet he knew this strategy would work because he's got Percy on the team. Hazel found them in a tunnel with no problem. In fact, Frank had a sneaking suspicion she didn't just find tunnels. She found the tunnel. Frank had a sneaking suspicion she didn't just find tunnels. It was though tunnels manufactured themselves to suit her needs. Passages that had been filled in years ago suddenly unfilled, changing directions to lead Hazel where she wanted to go. Interesting. So can she, like, move the earth? That's interesting that, like, I think both children of Hades have, like, earth-related abilities. That's kind of interesting. They crept along by the light of Percy's glowing sword, Riptide. Above, they heard the sounds of battle. Kids shouting, Hannibal the elephant bellowing with glee, scorpion bolts exploding, and water cannons firing. The tunnel shook. Dirt rained down on them. Frank slipped his hand inside his armor. The piece of wood was still safe and secure in his coat pocket, though one good shot from a scorpion might set his lifeline on fire. Oh yeah, the wood that keeps him alive. That whole thing. It's really... I'm curious how that's going to come to the fold later. Bad Frank shot himself. What the fuck? Fire is the F word. Don't think about it. There's an opening just ahead, Hazel announced. We'll come up 10 feet from the east wall. How can you tell, Percy asked. I don't know, she said, but I'm sure. Like how you can read fucking, like, on the ocean, Percy. Could we tunnel straight under the wall? Frank wondered. No, Hazel said. The engineers were smart. They built the walls on foundations that go down to bedrock. And don't ask how I know. I just do. Frank stumbled over something and cursed. Percy brought his sword around for more light. The thing Frank had tripped on was gleaming silver. He crouched down. Don't touch it, Hazel said. Oh yeah, right, you're gonna freaking die if you do. There's a lot of stuff to keep track of this time because we have so many more characters and they're kind of like set up with like so many interesting stakes. There's a lot playing into everything, a lot more than other books, even in Lost Hero. Even though we still have 3 characters in this one, it's still just a lot more to keep track of. Because we usually only have to keep track of Percy, really, and even Lost Hero. So yeah, you get it. Frank's hand stopped a few inches from the chunk of metal. It looked like a giant Hershey's Kiss, about the size of his fist. It's massive, he said. Silver. Platinum, Hazel sounded scared of her wits. It'll go away in a second. Please don't touch it. It's dangerous. Frank didn't understand how a lump of metal could be dangerous, but he took Hazel seriously. As they watched, the chunk of platinum sank into the ground. He stared at Hazel. How did you know? In the light of Percy's sword, Hazel looked as ghostly as a lar. I'll explain later, she promised. Another explosion rocked the tunnel, and they forged ahead. They popped out of a hole just where Hazel had predicted. In front of them, the fort's east wall loomed. Off to their left, Frank could see the main line of the 5th cohort advancing. In turtle formation, shields forming a shell over their heads and sides. I think that is one of the dumbest war formations I've ever seen. When I know what they're talking about when they do the thing with the shields and whatnot, but every single time I see that, I know it works, and I know it makes sense, and I know it's smart, I know the Romans kicked ass, but it looks so stupid. It looks so stupid that I can't help but think, I wish the battle was cooler. Shields forming a shell over their heads and sides. They were trying to reach the main gates, but the defenders above pelted them with rocks and shot flaming bolts from the scorpions, blasting craters around their feet. A water cannon discharged with a jaw-rattling thrum, and a jet of liquid carved a trench in the dirt right in front of the cohort. Percy whistled. That's a lot of pressure, all right. The 3rd and 4th cohort weren't even advancing. They stood back and laughed, watching their allies get beat up. The defenders clustered on the wall above the gates, yelling insults at the tortoise formation as it staggered back and forth. More games had deteriorated into beat up the 5th. Oh dang! Oh right, yeah, they left the 5th cohort behind. That's so funny. Frank's vision went red with anger. Let's shake things up. He reached in his quiver and pulled out an arrow heavier than the rest. The iron tip was shaped like the nose cone of a rocket. An ultra-thin gold rope trailed from the fletching. Yep, that's the word. Shooting it accurately up the wall would take more force and skill than most archers could manage, but Frank had strong arms and good aim. Maybe Apollo was watching, he thought. Hopefully. Your dad's not Apollo, bro. Sorry to break it to you. Your dad's not Apollo. What does that do? Percy asked. Grappling hook? It's called a Hydra arrow, Frank said. Can you knock out the water cannons? A defender appeared on the wall above them. Hey, he shouted to his buddies. Check it out. More victims. Percy, Frank said, now would be good. More kids came across the battlements to laugh at them. A few ran to the nearest water cannon and swung the barrel toward Frank. Percy closed his eyes. He raised his hand. Up on the wall, somebody yelled, "Open wide, losers!" Kaboom! The cannon exploded in a starburst of blue, green, and white. Defenders screamed as a watery shockwave flattened them against the battlements. Kids toppled over the walls, but were snatched by giant eagles and carried to safety. Whoa! Eagle ex machina? Then the entire eastern wall shuddered as the explosions backed up through the pipelines. One after another, the water cannons on the battlements exploded. The Scorpion's fires were doused. Defenders scattered in confusion or were tossed through the air, giving the rescue eagles quite a workout. At the main gates, the 5th cohort forgot about their formation. Mystified, they lowered their shields and stared at the chaos. Frank shot his arrow. It streaked upward, carrying its glittering rope. When it reached the top, the metal point fractured into a dozen lines and lashed out and wrapped around anything they could find. Parts of the wall, a scorpion, a broken water cannon, and a couple of defending campers who yelped and found themselves slammed against the battlements as anchors. From the main rope, handholds extended at 2 feet intervals, making a ladder. Dang. Go! Frank said. Percy grinned. You first, Frank. This is your party. Frank hesitated. Then he slung up his bow on his back and began to climb. He was halfway up before the defenders recovered their senses enough to sound the alarm. Frank glanced back at the 5th cohort's main group. They were staring up at him, dumbfounded. Well, Frank screamed, Attack! Gwen was the first to unfreeze. Gwen? She grinned and repeated the order. A cheer went up from the battlefield. Hannibal the elephant trumpeted with happiness, but Frank couldn't afford to watch. He clambered to the top of the wall, where 3 defenders were trying to hack down his rope ladder. One good thing about being big and clumsy and clad in metal, Frank was like a heavily armed bowling ball. Let's go. He launched himself at the defenders, and they toppled like pins. Frank got to his feet. He took command of the battlements, sweeping his pillion back and forth and knocking down defenders. Some shot arrows, some tried to get under his guard with their swords, but Frank felt unstoppable. Then Hazel appeared next to him, swinging her big cavalry sword like she was born for battle. Percy looked onto the wall and raised Riptide. Fun, he said. Let's go. Knock him down, Percy. Together they cleared the defenders off the wall. Below them, the gates broke. Hannibal barreled into the fort, arrows and rocks bouncing harmlessly off his Kevlar armor. The 5th cohort charged in behind the elephant, and the battle went hand to hand. They said there were eagles for emergency extraction saves last chapter. Oh, they did? Damn, I forgot that, but that's really funny. Interesting. I wonder where that takes place in Roman freaking mythology, Roman mythology, or history even. Finally, from the edge of the fields of Mars, a battle cry went up. The 3rd and 4th cohort ran to join the fight. A little late, Hazel grumbled. We can't let them get the banners, Frank said. No, Percy agreed. Those are ours. No more talk was necessary. They moved like a team, as if the 3 of them had been working together for years. They rushed down the interior steps and into the enemy base. Oh shit. How often do we get a battle scene that's multiple chapters? That was just one chapter just ended. Let's just keep on going because I'm invested to see what's gonna happen next in this battle. Gwen and Dakota was mentioned as Jason's friends in the 5th cohort for some content. Oh, interesting. Okay. Was that mentioned earlier this book, or was that mentioned in The Lost Hero? Because I remember Jason mentioning just a list of names in The Lost Hero, but I don't remember all of them. I remember Reyna being one of them because he emphasized Reyna in his thoughts. But yeah, chapter 12, Frank again. I really hope we don't just do 5, 5, 5, 5 this time. Last chapter? Okay. Well, it's been a week, so. But I hope that after Frank, we kind of switch more frequently from Percy to Hazel to Frank and yada, yada, yada. But if it's 5-5-5, I'm going to get kind of annoyed with that. After that, the battle was mayhem. Frank, Percy, and Hazel waded through the enemy, plowing down anyone who stood in their way. The first and second cohorts, pride of Camp Jupiter, a well-oiled, highly disciplined war machine, fell apart under the assault, and the sheer novelty of being on the losing side. Oh, you love to see it. Percy is going to Miss Jackson. Part of their problem was Percy. He fought like a demon, whirling through the defenders' ranks in a completely unorthodox style. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that wild Greek shit. None of that well-oiled, planned Roman goofy nonsense. Rolling under their feet, slashing with his sword instead of stabbing like a Roman would. Whacking campers with the flat of his blade and generally causing mass panic. And they don't even know how to deal with that. You'd love to see it. Octavian screamed in a shrill voice, maybe ordering the force cohort to stand their ground, maybe trying to sing soprano, but Percy put a stop to it. Oh, my goat. He somersaulted over a line of shields and slammed the butt of his sword into Octavian's helmet. The Centaurian collapsed like a sock puppet. Is that? Hold on. Page? I know this is a page in between, not a page in between. Hey, Paige, you want to give me the other one? I hate when books do this, bro. I know I'm not... There we go. I've done it. I've conquered the book. Frank shot arrows until his quiver was empty, using blunt-tipped missiles that wouldn't kill but left some nasty bruises. He broke his pillium over a defender's head, then reluctantly drew his gladius. Meanwhile, Hazel climbed into Hannibal's back. What? Oh, onto Hannibal's back. She charged toward the center of the fort, grinning down on her friends. Let's go, slowpokes! Gods of Olympus. She's beautiful, Frank thought. They ran to the center of the base. The inner keep was virtually unguarded. Obviously, the defenders never dreamed an assault would get this far. Hannibal busted down the huge doors. Inside, the first and second cohort, standard bearers, were sitting around the table playing Mythomagic with cards and figures. Bruh, there's no shot. They have Mythomagic here too. They sell it on both sides. The cohort's emblems were propped carelessly against one wall. Hazel and Hannibal rode straight into the room, and the standard bearers fell backwards out of their chairs. Hannibal stepped on the table, and game pieces scattered. By the time the rest of the cohort caught up with them, Percy and Frank had disarmed the enemies, grabbed the banners, and climbed onto Hannibal's back with Hazel. They marched out of the keep triumphantly with the enemy colors. Damn, super easy, barely an inconvenience. These guys are trash. The fifth cohort formed ranks around them. Together they paraded out of the fort, past stunned enemies and lines of equally mystified allies. Reyna circled low overhead on her Pegasus. The game is won. She sounded as if she were trying not to laugh. Assemble for honors! Slowly the campers regrouped on the field of Mars. I forgot, Field of Mars. That's Ares. There we go. When I read it last time, I was like, Mars. But yeah, Ares. Yeah, that's the god. Frank saw plenty of minor injuries. Some burns, broken bones, black eyes, cuts and gashes, plus a lot of very interesting hairdos from fires exploding and water cannons, but nothing that couldn't be fixed. He slid off the elephant. His comrades swarmed him, pounding him on the back and complimenting him. Damn, that was easy as hell. These guys are garbage! Frank wondered if he was dreaming. It was the best night of his life until he saw Gwen. Help! Somebody yelled. A couple campers rushed out of the fortress carrying a girl on a stretcher. They set her down, and other kids started running over. Even from a distance, Frank could tell it was Gwen. She was in bad shape. She lay on her side, on the stretcher, with a pylon sticking out of her armor, almost like she was holding it between her chest and her arm. But there was too much blood. Damn. Oh, she got, like, impaled? Frank shook his head in disbelief. No, he muttered as he ran to her side. The medics barked at everyone to stand back and give her air. The whole legion fell silent as the healers worked, trying to get gauze and powdered unicorn horn under Gwen's armor. Freaking just get her some goddamn, what's it called? The fucking, some, nectar. Heal that shit right up. Probably. Under Gwen's armor to stop the bleeding, trying to force some nectar into her mouth. There we go. Gwen didn't move. Her face was ashen gray. Is she actually about to die? Finally, one of the medics looked up at Reyna and shook his head. For a moment, there was no sound, except water from the ruined cannons trickling down the walls of the fort. Hannibal noses Gwen's hair with his trunk. There's no way. Would she actually die? Reyna surveyed the campers from her Pegasus. Her expression was as hard and dark as iron. There will be an investigation. Whoever did this, you cost the Legion a good officer. Honorable death is one thing, but this... Damn, she actually died! In a camp exercise! Alright, Riordan. Frank wasn't sure what she meant. Then he noticed the marks engraved in the wooden shaft of the pilum. CHT 1 Legio 12F. The weapon belonged to the first cohort, and the point was sticking out of front of her armor. Gwen had been speared from behind, possibly after the game had ended. Frank scanned the crowd for Octavian. The Centaurian was watching with more interest than concern, as if he were examining one of his stupid gutted teddy bears. He didn't have a pilum. Just kill him. We don't need any just kill that guy and we'll see if any more people die. If no more people dies, it was him. Okay, just don't even, yeah. Blood roared in Frank's ears. He wanted to strangle Octavian with his bare hands, but at the moment, Gwen gasped. Oh shit! She's alive! Everyone stepped back. Gwen opened her eyes. The color came back to her face. What is it? She blinked. What's everyone staring at? She didn't seem to notice the 7-foot harpoon sticking out through her chest. You didn't take it out! You didn't take it out! Give her the thing and then take... Oh my god. Behind Frank, a medic whispered, there's no way. She was dead. She has to be dead. Gwen tried to sit up, but couldn't. There was a river, and a man asked me for a coin. I turned around, and the exit door was open, so I just left. I don't understand what's happening. That's fucking funny. Bro, Mythomagic TCG is worldwide like Pitbull. Damn. Freaking, I wonder if that's they probably at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to make Mythomagic a real trading card game at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if they had already done that and it failed or something. Or maybe those cards are on, you can find them. Oh, everyone stared at her in horror. Nobody tried to help. Gwen. Frank knelt next to her. Don't try to get up. Just close your eyes for a second. Okay? Why? What? Just trust me. Gwen did what he asked. Frank grabbed the shaft of the pilum below its tip, but his hands were shaking. The wood was slicked. Percy, Hazel, help me. One of the medics realized what he was planning. Don't, he said. You might... What? Hazel snapped. Make it worse? Frank took a deep breath. Hold her steady. 1. Yeah, I don't even know how you would attempt to cure this. But we got magical healing shit, so I say take it out and let her heal. I forget. 1, 2, 3. He pulled the pilum out from the front. Gwen didn't even wince. The blood stopped quickly. Hazel bent down to examine the wound. It's closing on its own, she said. I don't know how, but I feel fine, Gwen protested. What's everyone worried about? With Frank and Percy's help, she got to her feet. Frank glowered at Octavian, but the Centaurian's face was a mask of polite concern. Later, Frank thought, deal with him later. Just kill him. Just kill him. I'm sure nobody will miss him. Gwen, Hazel said gently, there's no easy way to say this. You were dead. Somehow you came back. What? She stumbled against Frank. Her hand pressed against the ragged hole in her arm. How? Good question. Reyna turned to Nico, who was watching grimly from the edge of the crowd. Is this the power of Pluto? Nico shook his head. Dang, yeah, Nico's been watching. I forgot about that. Pluto never lets people return from the dead. He glanced at Hazel as if warning her to stay quiet. Frank wondered what that was about, but he didn't have time to think about it. A thunderous voice rolled across the field. death loses its hold, this is only the beginning. Ooh, interesting. Campers drew weapons. Hannibal trumpeted nervously. Scipio reared, almost throwing Reyna. I know that voice, Percy said. He didn't sound pleased. In the midst of the legion, a column of fire blasted into air. Heat seared Frank's eyelashes. Campers who had been soaked by cannons found their clothes instantly steam-dried. Everyone scrambled backwards as a huge soldier stepped out of the explosion. Is this Ares? Frank didn't have much hair, but what he did have stood up straight. A soldier was 10 feet tall, dressed in Canadian Forces desert camouflage. He radiated confidence and power. His black hair was cut in a flat-topped wedge like Frank's. Sounds like Ares. His face was angular and brutal, marked with old knife scars. Probably Ares. His eyes were covered with infrared goggles that glowed from the inside. He wore a utility belt with a sidearm, a knife holster, and several grenades. In his hand was an oversized M16 rifle. The worst thing was that Frank felt drawn to him. As everyone else stepped back, Frank stepped forward. He realized the soldier was silently willing to approach. Is Frank a child of Ares? There's no way, right? Frank desperately wanted to run away and hide, but he couldn't. He took 3 more steps, and he sank to one knee. The other campers followed his example and knelt. Even Reyna dismounted. That's good, the soldier said. Kneeling is good. It's been a long time since I visited Camp Jupiter. Frank noticed that one person wasn't kneeling. Percy Jackson. Of course he's not. Of course, he better not ever. And he better not ever. Percy don't kneel to gods. Pfft, goofy. Percy Jackson, his sword still in hand, was glaring at the giant soldier. You're Ares. Knew it, Percy said. What do you want? A collective gasp went up from 200 campers and an elephant. Frank wanted to say something to excuse Percy and placate the god, but he didn't know what. Listen, Ares knows better than to run the fade with Jackson. Okay, he knows better. He's not gonna try that. Or maybe I wonder if do they share memories? I'm curious. Does Mars know who Ares? Does Mars know that he got his ass beat by Percy in another? Or is it like a split personality thing? I'm curious. Frank wanted to say something to excuse Percy and placate the god, but he didn't know what. He was afraid the war god would blast his new friend with that extra-large M16. Instead, the god bared his brilliant white teeth. You've got spunk, demigod, he said. Ares is my Greek form, but to these followers, to the children of Rome, I am Mars, patron of the Empire, divine father of Romulus and Remus. We've met, Percy said. We had a fight. Dang, Percy remembers more than Jason. This god scratched his chin as if trying to recall. I fought a lot of people, but I assure you, you've never fought me as Mars. Okay, so he doesn't remember the fight that he had with Ares. If you had, you'd be dead. Now kneel, as befits a child of Rome, before you try my patience. And watch him not. Watch him not. Watch him not. Around Mars's feet, the ground boiled in a circle of flame. Percy, Frank said, please. Percy clearly didn't like it, but he knelt. Okay. Frank asked him to. That's different. Mars scanned the crowd. Romans, lend me your ears. He laughed, a good, hearty bellow, so infectious it almost made Frank smile, though he was still shivering with fear. I've always wanted to say that. I come from Olympus with a message. Jupiter doesn't like us communicating directly with mortals, especially nowadays, but he has allowed this exception, as you Romans have always been my special people. I'm only permitted to speak for a few minutes, so listen up. Bonnet Gwen, this one should be dead, yet she's not. The monsters you fight no longer return to Tartarus. When they are slain, some mortals who died long ago are now walking the earth again. Was it Frank's imagination, or did the god glare at Nico D'Angelo? Interesting. Thanatos has been chained, Mars announced. The doors of death have been forced open, and no one is policing them. At least not impartially. Gaia allows our enemies to pour forth into the world of mortals. Her sons, the giants, are mustering armies against you, armies that you will not be able to kill unless death is unleashed to return to his duties. You will be overrun. You must find Thanatos and free him from the giants. Only he can reverse the tide. Ah, that's the quest. Okay. Mars looked around and noticed that everyone was still, silently kneeling. Oh, you can get up now. Any questions? Reyna rose uneasily. She approached the god, followed by Octavian, who was bowing and scraping like a champion groveler. Also, if Percy had his memory back, 0% chance he would have kneeled. 0% chance. You're lucky, Percy don't remember nothing. Because you both would have ran the fade right then, and I promise you would have lost. Lord Mars, Reyna said, we are honored. Beyond honored, said Octavian. So far beyond honored. Well, Mars snapped. Well, Reyna said, Thanatos is the god of death, the lieutenant of Pluto. Right, the god said. And you're saying that he's been captured by giants. Right. And therefore, people will stop dying? Not all at once, Mars said, but the barriers between life and death will continue to weaken. Those who know how to take advantage of this will exploit it. Monsters are already harder to dispatch, so they will be completely impossible to kill. Some demigods will also be able to find their way back from the underworld. Like your friend Centurion Shish Kebab. When Centurion Shish Kebab, if left unchecked, Mars continued, even mortals will eventually find it impossible to die. Can you imagine a world in which no one dies? Ever. Octavian raised his hands. But a mighty, all-powerful Lord Mars, if we can't die, isn't that a good thing? If we can stay alive indefinitely, don't be foolish, boy, Mars bellowed. Endless slaughter with no conclusion, carnage without any point, enemies that rise again and again, never be killed. Is that what you want? You're the god of war, Percy spoke up. Don't you want endless carnage? Mars' infrared goggles glowed brighter. Insolent, aren't you? Perhaps I have fought you before. I can understand why I'd want to kill you. I'm the god of Rome, child. I am the military might. I'm the god of military might used for righteous cause. I protect the legions. I am happy to crush my enemies underfoot, but I don't fight without reason. I don't want war without end. You will discover this. You will serve me. Not likely, Percy said. Let's go. Again, Frank waited for the god to strike him down, but Mars just grinned like they were two old buddies talking trash. They kind of are. Even though they hate each other a lot. But they ran the fade, they can do it again. Oh, actually, I kind of do want to see a rematch between Percy and Ares. That'd be great. I order a quest, the god announced. You will go north and find Thanatos in the land beyond the gods. You will free him and thwart the plans of the giants. Beware Gaia. Beware her son, the eldest giant. The Zeus one, the Jupiter giant. Next to Frank, Hazel made a sneaking sound. The land beyond the gods. Mars stared down at her, his grip tightening on his M16. That's right, Hazel Levesque. You know what I mean. Everyone here remembers the land where the Legion lost its honor. Perhaps if the quest succeeds, and you return by the Feast of Fortuna. Perhaps then your honor will be restored. If you don't succeed, there won't be any camp left to return to. Rome will be overrun, its legacy lost forever. So my advice is, don't fail. Octavian somehow managed to bow even lower. Lord Mars, just one thing. A quest requires a prophecy, a mystical poem to guide us. We used to get them from the sibling books, but now it's up to the augur to glean the will of the gods. So if I could just run up and get about 70 stuffed animals and possibly a knife. You're the augur? The god interrupted. Yes, my lord? Mars pulled a scroll from his utility belt. Anyone got a pen? We fought the Zeus one at the end of the lost hero. Yeah, I remember. No, that's what I was talking about. Well, I guess we didn't beat him though. Like we fought him and then he was like, "Oh, I'll be back, Jason," and then he ran away. So I imagine that's what he's talking about. The legionnaires stared at him. Mars sighed. 200 Romans and no one's got a pen. Wait, Jackson does. Never mind. He slung his M16 onto his back and pulled out a hand grenade. There were many screaming Romans. The grenade morphed into a ballpoint pen, and Mars began to write. Frank looked at Percy with wide eyes. He mouthed, "Can your sword do grenade form?" Percy mouthed, "No, shut up." There, Mars finished writing into the scroll at Octavian. A prophecy. You can add it to your books, engrave it on your floor, whatever. Octavian read the scroll. This says, go to Alaska, find Thanatos and free him. Come back by sundown on June 24th or die. I love that. That's so great. Yes, Mars said. Is that not clear? Well, my lord, usually prophecies are unclear. They're wrapped in riddles, they rhyme, and Mars casually popped another grenade off his belt. Yes. The prophecy is clear, Octavian announced. A quest! Good answer. Mars had the grenade on his chin. Now, what else? There was something else. Oh, yes. He turned to Frank. Come here, kid. No, Frank thought. The burned stick in his pocket coat felt heavier. His legs turned wobbly. A sense of dread settled over him. Worse than the day the military officer had come to the door. He knew it was coming, but he couldn't stop it. He zipped forward against his will. Mars grinned. Nice job taking the wall, kid. Who's the ref for this game? Rana raised her hands. You see that play, ref? Mars demanded. That was my kid. Yeah, son of Ares. My kind of prophecy. Yeah, no. Top 3 prophecies so far, genuinely. Yeah, I think it's the first great prophecy, the prophecy of the 7, and Mars' prophecy in the son of Neptune. That was my kid. First over the wall, won the game for his team. Unless you're blind, that was an MVP play. You're not blind, are you? Raina looked like she was trying to swallow a mouse. No, Lord Mars. Then make sure he gets the mural crown, Mars demanded. My kid here. He had the Legion, in case anyone hadn't heard. Frank wanted to melt into the dirt. Emily Zhang's son, Mars continued. She was a good soldier, good woman. This kid Frank, proved his stuff tonight. Happy late birthday. Time you stepped up to a real man's weapon. By the way, Frank, I just need you to know you'll never be Clarice. Just putting that out there. He tossed Frank his M16. For a split second, Frank thought he'd be crushed under the weight of a massive assault rifle. Then the gun changed midair, becoming smaller and thinner. When Frank caught it, the weapon was a spear. Oh, he loves handing out spears. It had a shaft of imperial gold, and a strange point like a white bone, flickering with ghostly light. The tip is a dragon's tooth, Mars said. You haven't learned to use your mom's talent yet, have you? Well, that spear will give you some breathing room until you do. You get 3 charges out of it, so use it wisely. Frank didn't understand, but Mars acted like the matter was closed. Now, my kid Frank Zhang is going to lead the quest to free Thanatos, unless there are any objections. Of course, no one said a word, but many of the campers glared at Frank with envy, jealousy, anger, bitterness. You can take two companions, Mars said. Those are the rules. One of them needs to be this kid. He pointed at Percy. Of course he does. He's gonna learn some respect for Mars on this trip, or die trying. He's not gonna do either of those things. As for the second, I don't care. Pick whomever you want. I had one of your Senate debates. You all are good at those. God's image flickered. Lightning crackled across the sky. That's my cue, Mars said. Till next time, Romans, do not disappoint me. Dang, Mars is a chill guy. Ares is not a chill guy. I don't know. Frank is pretty sick. Clarice what? That's an incomplete sentence. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. That's an incomplete sentence. Might have competition. No. She doesn't. Listen, Frank is never gonna call out Kronos and call him a coward. Okay? Let's keep it a stack. Frank is never gonna appear late to the battle, call out Kronos and call him a coward. It's never gonna happen. Or Gaia, or anybody. Frank's just not gonna do that. god erupted in flame, and then he was gone. Reyna turned toward Frank. Her expression was part amazement, part nausea, like she'd finally managed to swallow that mouse. She raised her arm in Roman salute. Ave, Frank Zhang, son of Mars. The whole legion followed her lead, but Frank didn't want their attention anymore. His perfect night had been ruined. Mars was his father. The god of war was sending him to Alaska. I would be ruined if I got sent to Alaska too. Frank had been handed more than a spear for his birthday. He'd been handed a death sentence. Was there something about Frank not being able to go to Alaska or something? Ah, great. And then the Percy chapter is next. You'll have to see it. That was great. A dope battle and a really great scene with Mars at the end was really interesting. It kind of illustrates the difference, at least to me, it illustrates the difference between Ares and Mars. That is interesting. We haven't really seen... I would like to see Neptune. We're probably going to see Neptune in this book. We haven't really seen, like, we've been told that the gods have different personalities and their different forms and whatever. And so it's kind of cool to see that, like, while Ares is kind of a dick, Mars is like just a chill guy. I'm sure Percy's not going to like him anymore, but still. Frank may have some different strengths, though, unique qualities. All the Roman gods are pretty chill. That's interesting. Dang, that's going to be funny then. But no, I'm curious to see Neptune next. I'm sure I'm going to like Neptune too. But no, it's exciting. All but one, in my opinion. We shall soon find out. But yeah, I think honestly this is one of Rick's worst written battles, if I were to say. Like, usually his battles are a lot more like step by step, interesting, cool, engaging action, but this one was just kind of like, and they did this, and they did this, and they did this, which I wasn't super into. But I imagine that this is just like the first. I'm not gonna hold that against him, especially because he has so many other great written battles. So I imagine we'll get some more cool written stuff later. But yeah. Anyways, on to Percy. It's been so long. 100 chapters. Sorry, 100 pages. Yeah. But let's stop this 555 thing. Yeah, can we stop that, please? I'd really appreciate it. Or like 4. Yeah, because this is chapter 13, so it's like 4. Yeah, let's stop doing that. Anyways, Percy slept like a Medusa victim, which he almost was, but wasn't because he cut her head off, and he doesn't remember that. Which is to say, like a rock. He hadn't crashed in a safe, comfortable bed since, well, you couldn't even remember. Oh, dang, yeah, he did this that was all one day. He got to camp, he freaking met Octavian, he had a freaking fight, and then he got a quest. Percy don't get no rest. By his insane day and the million thoughts running through his head, his body took over and said, "You will sleep now." He had dreams, of course. He always had dreams, but they passed like blurred images from the window of a train. He saw a curly-haired fawn in ragged clothes, running to catch up with him. "I don't have any spare change," Percy called. "What?" the fawn said. "No, Percy, it's me, Grover. Stay put. We're on our way to find you." "Oh, crap. Grover, I was just asking about you." Tyson's close. At least we think he's the closest. We're trying to get a lock on your position." "Percy, what?" Percy called. But the fawn disappeared in the fog. The Annabeth was running along beside him, reaching out her hand. "Thank the gods," she called. "For months and months we couldn't see you. Are you alright?" Oh, Annabeth is talking to Percy now. Percy remembered what Juno had said. For months, he has been slumbering, but now he's awake. The goddess had intentionally kept him hidden. But why? "Are you real?" he asked Annabeth. He wanted so much to believe it. He felt like Hannibal. The elephant was standing on his chest, but her face began to dissolve. She cried, "Stay put. It'll be easier for Tyson to find you. Stay where you are." "Sorry, I have a quest. I have to go find Thanatos." Come find Thanatos. When she was gone, the images accelerated. He saw a huge ship in a dry dock, workers scrambling to finish the hull, and a guy with a blowtorch wielding a bronze dragon figurehead. To the prow, he saw the war god stalking toward him in the surf, a sword in his hands. The scene shifted. Percy stood on the field of Mars, looking up at the Berkeley Hills. Golden grass rippled, and a face appeared in the landscape. A sleeping woman. Her features formed from her shadows and folds in the terrain. Her eyes remained close, but her voice spoke in Percy's mind. So this is the demigod who destroyed my son Kronos. You don't look like much, Percy Jackson, but you're valuable to me. Come north. Meet Alcyonius. Juno can play her little games with Greeks and Romans, but in the end you will be my pawn. You will be the key to the gods' defeat. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, somebody already tried that. Kronos already tried that. But I mean, we can run this again, but I'm gonna kill you, so. Percy's vision turned dark. He stood in a theater-sized version of the camp headquarters of Principia, with walls of ice and freezing mist hanging in the air. The floor was littered with skeletons in Roman armor and imperial gold weapons, encrusted with frost. In the back of the room sat an enormous shadowy figure, his skin glinted of gold and silver, as if he were an automaton, like Raina's dogs. Behind him stood a collection of ruined emblems, tattered banners, and a large golden eagle on a staff of iron. The giant's voice boomed in the vast chamber. This will be fun, son of Neptune. It's been eons since I broke a demigod of your caliber. I await you atop the ice. Percy woke, shivering. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then he remembered Camp Jupiter, the 5th cohort, barracks. He lay in his bunk, staring at the ceiling and trying to control his racing heartbeat. A golden giant was wanting to break him. Wonderful. What unnerved him more was that sleeping woman's face in the hills. You will be my pawn. Percy didn't play chess, but he was pretty sure that being a pawn was bad. They died a lot. Even the friendlier parts of his dream were disturbing. A fawn named Grover was looking for him. Maybe that's why Dawn detected a what did he call it? An empathy link? Somebody named Tyson was searching for him, too. And Annabeth had warned Percy to stay where he was. He sat up in his bunk. His roommates were rushing around, getting dressed and brushing their teeth. Dakota was wrapping himself in a long piece of red speckled cloth, a toga. One of the layers was giving him pointers on where to tuck and fold. Breakfast time, Percy asked hopefully. Frank's head popped up from the bunk below. Percy beat her son. Now the mother wants to run the ones, and she's gonna lose. Everybody wants an L from Percy Jackson. He's got enough to hand out. It's okay. But freaking, where was I? Oh yeah, it's fun seeing Percy in a place where there's a bunch of people living with him. Usually it's just him by himself or him and Tyson. Frank's head popped up from the bunk below. He had bags under his eyes like he hadn't slept well. A quick breakfast, then we've got the Senate meeting. Dakota's head was stuck in his toga. He staggered around like a Kool-Aid stained ghost. Percy said, "Should I wear my bed sheets?" Frank snorted. "That's just for senators. There's 10 of them, elected yearly. You've got to be at camp 5 years to qualify. So how come we're invited to the meeting? Because, the quest?" Frank sounded worried, like he was afraid Percy would back out. "But we'll have to be in on the discussion. You, me, Hazel, if you're willing." Frank probably didn't mean to guilt him, but Percy's heart pulled like taffy. Did he choose Hazel off screen? He had sympathy for Frank. Getting claimed by the war god in front of the whole camp, what a nightmare. Plus, how could Percy say no to that big pouty baby face? Frank had been given a huge task that would most likely get him killed. He was scared. He needed Percy's help, and the three of them had made a good team last night. Hazel and Frank were solid, dependable people. They'd accepted Percy like family. Still, he didn't like the idea of this quest, especially since it came from Mars, especially after his dreams. I'd better get ready. He climbed out of bed and got dressed. The whole time he thought about Annabeth. Help was on the way. He could have his old life back. All he had to do was stay put. But he definitely won't do that, because he's Percy and he's a hero and he has to help Frank and yada 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 yada. But they'll be there when you get back, Percy. They'll probably get there at the same time as you get back, maybe. I don't know. Percy beat her son now that... Oh, I already read that. Never mind. At breakfast, Percy was conscious of everyone looking at him. They were wishing about the previous night. 2 gods in one day. On Roman fighting, water cannon at my nose. He was too angry to care. You guys lost. Suck it out. He filled up on pancakes, eggs, bacon, waffles, apples, and several glasses of orange juice. He probably would have eaten more, but Raina announced that the Senate would now convene the city, and all the folks in togas got up to leave. Here we go, Hazel fidgeted, with a stone that looked like a two-carat ruby. The Vitellius appeared next to him in a purple shimmer. Bona fortuna, you three. A Senate meeting. I remember the one when Caesar was assassinated. Why the amount of blood on his toga? Thanks, Vitellius, Frank interrupted. We should get going. Wayne and Octavian led the procession of senators out of the camp, with Raina's metal greyhound dashing back and forth. Along the road, Hazel, Frank, and Percy trailed behind. Percy noticed Nico D'Angelo in the group, wearing a black toga. Oh, let's go. And talking to Gwen. He looked a little pale, but surprisingly good considering she'd been dead the night before. Nico waved at Percy, then went back to his conversation, leaving Percy more sure than ever that Hazel's brother was trying to avoid him. Dakota stumbled along in his red-speckled robe. A lot of other senators seemed to be having trouble with their togas too, hiking up their hems, trying to keep the cloth from slipping off their shoulders. Percy was glad he was wearing a regular purple t-shirt and jeans. How could Romans move in those things, he wondered. They were just for formal occasions, Hazel said, like tuxedos. But the ancient Romans hated togas as much as we do. By the way, you didn't bring any weapons, did you? Percy's hand went into his pocket, where his pen always stayed. Why? Are we not supposed to? No weapons allowed inside the Pomerian line, she said. The what line? Pomerian, Frank said. City limits. Inside is a sacred save zone. Legions can't march through. No weapons allowed. That's so Senate meetings don't get bloody. Like Julius Caesar getting assassinated, Percy asked. Frank nodded. Don't worry. Nothing like that has happened in months. Months? Don't you mean centuries? I think you meant centuries. I hope you meant centuries. Percy hoped he was kidding. As they got closer to the city, Percy could appreciate how beautiful it was. The tiled roofs and gold domes gleamed in the sun. The gardens bloomed with honeysuckle and roses. The central plaza was paved in white and gray stone, decorated with statues, fountains, and gilded columns. In the surrounding neighborhoods, the cobblestone streets were lined with freshly painted townhouses, shops, cafes, and parks. In the distance rose the Colosseum and the horse racing arena. Percy didn't notice they'd reached the city limits until the senators in front of him started slowing down. On the side of the road stood a white marble statue. A life-size muscular man with curly hair, no arms, and an irritated expression. Maybe he looked mad because he'd been carved only from the waist up. Below that he was just a big block of marble. Single file, please, the statue said. Are your IDs ready? What? Percy looked to his left and right. He hadn't noticed before, but a line of identical statues ringed the city at intervals of about 100 yards. Interesting. The senators passed through easily. The statue checked the tattoos on their forearms and called each senator by name. Gwendolyn, Senator, 5th Cohort. Yes. Nico D'Angelo, Ambassador of Pluto. Very well. Raina, Praetor, of course. Hank, Senator, third cohort. Oh, nice shoes. Hank, who have we here? Hazel, Frank, and Percy were the last ones. Terminus, Hazel said. This is Percy Jackson. Percy, this is Terminus. The god of boundaries. Anyway, said the god. Yes, probatio tablet. Fine. Up in your pocket? Take it out. Take it out. Percy didn't know Terminus could tell, but he took out his pen. Quite dangerous, Terminus said. Leave it in this tray. Wait, where's my assistant, Julia? It's just gonna appear in his pocket again. A little girl about 6 years old peeked out from behind the base of the statue. She had pigtails, a pink dress, and an impish grin with 2 missing teeth. Julia, Terminus glanced behind him, and Julia scurried in the other direction. Where did that girl go? Terminus looked the other way and caught sight of Julia before she could hide. The girl squealed with delight. Oh, there you are, said the statue, front and center. Bring the tray. Julia scrambled out and brushed off her dress. She picked up a tray and presented it to Percy. On it were several paring knives, a corkscrew, an oversized container of sun lotion, and a water bottle. That's funny. You can pick up your weapon on the way out, the Terminus said. Julia will take good care of it. She's a professional. The little girl nodded. Professional. She said each syllable carefully, like she had been practicing. Percy glanced at Hazel and Frank, who didn't seem to find anything odd about this. Still, he wasn't wild about handing over a deadly weapon to a kid. The thing is, he said, the pen returns to my pocket automatically. So even if I give it up, not to worry, Terminus assured. We'll make sure it doesn't wander off, won't we, Julia? Yes, Mr. Terminus. Reluctantly, Percy put his pen on the tray. Now, a few rules since you're new, Terminus said. You are entering the boundaries of the city proper. Keep the peace inside the line. Yield to the chariot traffic while walking on public roads. When you get to the Senate House, sit on the left-hand side. And down there, do you see where I'm pointing? Percy said, you don't have hands. Apparently, this was a sore point for Terminus. His marble face turned a dark shade of gray. Smart aleck, eh? Well, Mr. Rule Flaunter, right down there in the forum. Julia, point for me, please. Julia dutifully set down the security tray and pointed toward the main plaza. The shop with the blue awning, Terminus continued. That's a general store. They sell tape measures. Buy one. I want those pants exactly 1 inch above the ankles, that hair regulation cut, and tuck your shirt in. Hazel said, thank you, Terminus. We need to get going. Fine. You may pass, the god said testily. Stay on the right side of the road. And that rock right there? No, Hazel said. Look where I'm pointing. That rock is entirely too close to that tree. Move it 2 inches to the left. Hey, Percy's definitely not going to cut his hair, right? Like, I don't think he's going to do that. Or do any of the things he just said. Hazel did what she was told, and they continued down the path. Terminus still shouting orders at them while Julia did cartwheels across the grass. Is he always like that? Percy asked. No, Hazel admitted. Today he was laid back. Usually he's more obsessive-compulsive. He inhabits every boundary stone around the city, Ring said. Kind of our last line of defense if the city's attacked. Terminus isn't so bad, Hazel added. Just don't make him angry or I'll force you to measure every blade of grass in the valley. Jesus Christ, absolutely not. Bro, oh god, that'd be horrible. Percy filed that information. And the kid, Julia? Hazel grinned. Yeah, she's a cutie. Her parents live in the city. Come on, we better catch up with the senators. As they approached the forum, Percy was struck by the sheer number of people. College-age kids were hanging out at the fountain. Several of them waved at the senators as they passed. One guy, in his late 20s, stood at the bakery counter, flirting with a young woman who was buying coffee. W. An older couple was watching a little boy in diapers in a miniature Camp Jupiter shirt toddler after seagulls. Merchants were opening their shops for the day, putting out signs in Latin that advertised pottery, jewelry, and half-price tickets for the hippodrome. All these people are demigods? Percy asked. Or descended from demigods? Hazel said, like I told you, it's a good place to go to college, raise a family without worrying about monsters' attacks every day. Maybe 200-300 people live here. The veterans act as like advisors and reserve forces as needed, but mostly they're just citizens living their lives. Percy imagined what that would be like, getting an apartment in this tiny replica of Rome, protected by Legion and Terminus, the OCD border god. He imagined holding hands in the apathetic cafe. Maybe when they were older, watching their own kid chase seagulls across the forum. Damn. He shook the idea out of his head. He couldn't afford to indulge in that kind of thinking. Most of his memories were gone, but he knew this place wasn't his home. He belonged somewhere else, with his other friends. Besides, Camp Jupiter was in danger. If Juno was right, an attack was coming in less than 5 days. Percy imagined that sleeping woman's face, the face of Gaia, forming in the hills above camp. He imagined hordes of monsters descending into this valley. If you don't succeed, Mars had warned, there won't be any camp left to return to. Rome will be overrun, its legacy lost forever. He thought about the little girl Julia, the families with kids, his new friends in the 5th cohort, even those silly little fawns. He didn't want to picture what might happen to them if this place was destroyed. The senators made their way to a big white dome building on the west end of the forum. Percy paused at the doorway, trying not to think about Julius Caesar getting slashed to death at a Senate meeting. He took a deep breath and followed Hazel and Frank inside. I don't know why Hazel's coming, unless she was chosen for the quest off screen and we didn't see that. But I am very curious to see what's gonna happen in this Senate meeting. This is like I like really seeing the sides of the camp that are very opposite Camp Half-Blood. Like, that's really interesting to me. And it seems like I was right. The plot is really about to kick into gear. It took about the same amount of time it's funny that Rick's books are like very proportional. Like, they take about the same amount of time, like every single time, to get to the quest. Like if I were to make this book smaller in page count, it'd probably be approximately the same amount of pages that I didn't think Frank was gonna choose any. Who else did you think Frank? Who else did you think Frank was gonna choose the quest? I didn't think he was gonna choose anybody else. I just expected to see him choose someone. Like, we didn't see it, and so I feel like that's an issue. Like he should have been like, yeah, I picked Hazel at least. You know, like I knew, but like, anyways, what was I saying? What the hell was I even saying? I totally forgot. Oh yeah, yeah, it's all proportional, but it's crazy that we're about 200, almost 200 pages in. The quest hasn't started yet, but it's still kind of the same as last time. I do imagine though, I feel like Mark of Athena will start much faster because we have to go to. I imagine that's when we'll go to Rome or Greece or wherever it is. Anyways, next Percy chapter. They're gonna do the 4th thing, aren't they? The entire book. That's gonna be kind of a bummer. Anyways, Percy chapter 14. The Senate House interior looked like a high school lecture hall. A semicircle of a tie red seats face a dais with a podium and 2 chairs. The chairs were empty, but one had a small velvet package on the seat. Percy, Hazel, and Frank sat on the left side of the semicircle. The 10 senators and Nico D'Angelo occupied the rest of the front row. The upper row... Why is Nico there? Like, is he that respected? That's so interesting. Occupied the rest of the front row. The upper rows were filled with several dozen ghosts and a few older veterans from the city, all in formal togas. Octavian stood in front with a knife and a beanie baby. You're lying. Just in case anyone needed to consult the god of cutesy collectibles. Rena walked to the podium and raised her hand for attention. Right, this is an emergency meeting, she said. We won't stand on formalities. I love formalities, the ghost complained. Rena shot him a cross look. First of all, she said, we're not here to vote on the quest. The quest itself. The quest has been issued by Mars, Ultor, patron of Rome. We will obey his wishes, nor are we here to debate the choice of Frank Shane's companions. All three from the 5th cohort, called out Hank. That's not fair, and not smart, the boy next to him. They know the 5th will mess up. They should take somebody good. Yeah, who kicked your ass as swiftly at that last thing? Who swiftly destroyed you and it wasn't even that hard at all? That was actually super easy. Just out of curiosity. Dakota got up so fast he spilled Kool-Aid from his flask. We were plenty good last night, exactly. We whipped your Podex, Larry. Enough, Dakota, Rena said. Let's leave Larry's Podex out of this. As a quest leader, Rank has the right to choose his companions. And he also said, he also was told to pick Percy Jackson. So he really was able to pick one person. He has chosen Percy Jackson and Hazel Levesque. The ghost from the second row yelled, Absurdus! Frank Zhang isn't even a full member of the Legion. He's on probatio. The quest must be led by someone of Centurion rank or higher. This is completely Cato, Reno snapped. We must obey the wishes of Mars. Yeah, shut up. Who do you think you are? You were there, bro. Or maybe a ghost should have... Maybe you weren't there, but still, you literally just heard that. Ultor. That means certain adjustments. Rena clapped her hands and Octavian came forward. He sat down his knife and Beanie Baby and took the velvet package from the chair. Frank Zhang, he said, come forward. Frank glanced nervously at Percy, then he got to his feet and approached the augur. It is my pleasure, Octavian said, forcing out the last word, to bestow upon you the mural crown for being the first over the walls in the siege warfare. Octavian handed him a bronze badge shaped like a laurel wreath. Also, by order of Praetor Rena, to promote you to the rank of Centurion. He handed Frank another badge, a bronze crescent, and the Senate exploded in protest. That's crazy. He's still a probie, one yelled. Impossible, said another. Water cannon at my nose, yelled a third. Silence! Octavian's voice sounded a lot more commanding than it had the previous night in the battlefield. Our Praetor recognizes no one below the rank of Centurion may lead a quest. For good or ill, Frank must lead this quest. So our Praetor has decreed that Frank Zhang must be Centurion. This trio won a whole war game in like 10 pages, literally. Where was I? Suddenly, Percy understood what an effective speaker Octavian was. He sounded reasonable and supportive, but his expression was pained. He carefully crafted his words to put all the responsibility on Rena. This was her idea, he seemed to say. If it went wrong, Rena was to blame. If only Octavian had been the one in charge, things would have been done more sensibly. But alas, he had no choice but to support Rena, because Octavian was a loyal Roman soldier. Octavian managed to convey all that without saying it, simultaneously calming the Senate and sympathizing with them. For the first time, Percy realized this scrawny, fun-looking scarecrow of a kid might be a dangerous enemy. Just kill him. Super easy. Stab him, then he's dead. Well, you don't have your sword. Wait till you're out, and then just kill him after that. You're not even Roman, and so they won't care. Rena must have recognized this too. A look of irritation flashed across her face. There's an opening for Centurion, she said. One of our officers, also a senator, had decided to step down. Who? After 10 years in the Legion, she will retire to the city and attend college. Gwen? Oh, I'm going to the 5th cohort. Thank you for your service. Interesting. Everyone turned to Gwen, who managed a brave smile. She looked tired from the previous night's ordeal, but also relieved. Percy couldn't blame her. Compared to getting seared with the pylon, college sounded pretty good. As Praetor, Rena continued, I have the right to replace officers. I admit it's unusual for a camper on probatio to rise directly to the rank of Centurion, but I think we can agree. Last night was unusual. I think we can agree Ares told me to do it. So there's literally nothing I can do. Frank Zhang, your ID, please. Frank removed the lead tablet from around his neck and handed it to Octavian. Your arm, Octavian said. Frank held up his arm. Octavian raised his hands to the heavens. We accept Frank Zhang, son of Mars, to the 12th Legion Fulminata. For his first year of service, do you pledge your life to the Senate and the people of Rome? Frank muttered something like, then cleared. And he cleared his throat and managed, I do. The senator shouted, Senatus Populusque Romanus. What a bunch of friggin' weirdos. Fire blazed on Frank's arm. For a moment his eyes filled with terror, and Percy was afraid his friend might pass out. Then the smoke and flame died, and new marks were seared onto Frank's skin. SPQR, an image of crossed spears and a single stripe representing the first year of service. You may sit down. Octavian glanced at the audience as if to say, this wasn't my idea, folks. Narayana said, we must discuss the quest. We send you on a quest, but we do not grant you the rank of praetor. That's what she should have said. That would have been funny. The senator shifted and muttered as Frank returned to his seat. Did it hurt? Percy whispered. Frank looked at his arm. You're still seeming. Yeah, a lot. He seemed mystified by the badges in his hand. The Centaurian's mark and a laurel crown, like he wasn't sure what to do with them. Here, Hazel asked him with pride. Let me see. She pinned the medals to Frank's shirt. Percy smiled. He'd only known Frank for a day, but he felt proud of him too. You deserve it, man. He said, what you did last night? Natural leadership. Frank scowled. But Centaurian Zhang, called Octavian. Did you hear the question? Frank blinked. Sorry, what? Octavian turned to the Senate and smirked. Like, what did I tell you? I was asking, Octavian said, like he was talking to a 3-year-old, if you have a plan for the quest. Do you even know where you are going? Hazel put her hand on Frank's shoulder and stood. Weren't you listening last night, Octavian? Mars was pretty clear. We're going to land beyond the gods. Alaska. The senators squirmed in their togas. Some of the ghosts shimmered and disappeared. Even Raina's metal dogs rolled over on their backs and whimpered. Oh, interesting. Freaking Congress hockey? Finally, Senator Larry stood. I know what Mars said. But that's crazy. Alaska's cursed. They call it the land beyond the gods for a reason. It's so far north, the Roman gods have no power there. The place is swarming with monsters. No demigod has come back from there alive since you lost your eagle, Percy said. Larry was so startled he fell back on his podex. Look, Percy continued, I know I'm new here. I don't know you guys. Don't like to mention the massacre in the 1980s. He mentioned it! One of the ghosts whispered. But don't you get it? Percy continued. The 5th cohort led that expedition. We failed. We have to be responsible for making things right. That's why Mars is sending us. This giant, the son of Gaia, he's the one who defeated your forces 30 years ago. I'm sure of it. Now we're sitting up there in Alaska with a chained death god and all your old equipment. He's mustering his armies and sending them to attack this camp. Really, Octavian said. You need to know a lot about our enemy's plans, Percy Jackson. Most insults Percy could shrug off, being called weak or stupid or whatever, but it dawned on him that Octavian was calling him a spy, a traitor. This was such a foreign concept to Percy. So not who he was. He almost couldn't process the slur. When he did, his shoulders tensed. He was tempted to smack Octavian on the head again, but he realized Octavian was baiting him, trying to make him look unstable. Percy took a deep breath. We're going to confront this son of Gaia, he said, managing to keep his composure. We'll get back your eagle and unchain this god. And was it Hazel? Thanatos, right? She nodded. Letus in Roman. But his old Greek name is Thanatos. When it comes to death, we're happy to let him stay Greek. Interesting. Octavian sighed in exasperation. Well, whatever you call him, how do you expect to do all this and get back by the Feast of Fortuna? That's the evening of the 24th. The 20th now. Do you even know where to look? Do you even know who this son of Gaia is? Yes, Hazel spoke with such certainty that even Percy was surprised. I don't know exactly where to look, but I have a pretty good idea. The giant's name is Alcyonius. The name seemed to lower the temperature in the room by 50 degrees. Oh, this is a different guy from the Jupiter guy. The senator shivered. Raina gripped her podium. How do you know this, Hazel? Because you're a child of Pluto? Nico D'Angelo had been so quiet. Percy had almost forgotten he was there. Now he stood in his black toga. Praetor, if I may, he said. Hazel and I, we learned about the giants from our father. Each giant was bred specifically to oppose one of the 12 Olympian gods, to usurp that god's domain. The king of giants was Porphyrion, the anti-Jupiter. But the eldest giant is Alcyonius. He was born to oppose Pluto. That's why we know of him in particular. Raina frowned. Indeed, you sound quite familiar with him. Nico picked at the edge of his toga. Anyway, the giants. Raina, don't talk like that. Like Nico couldn't beat your ass, bro. Anyway, the giants were hard to kill. According to the prophecy, they could only be defeated by gods and demigods working together. Dakota belched. Sorry, did you say gods and demigods? Like fighting side by side? That could never happen. It has happened, Nico said. In the first giant war, the gods called on heroes to join them, and they were victorious. Whether it could happen again, I don't know. With Alcyonius, he was different. He was completely immortal, impossible to kill by god or demigod. As long as he remained in his home territory, the place where he was born, Nico paused to let that sink in. And if Alcyonius has been reborn in Alaska, then he can't be defeated there, Hazel finished. Ever, by any means. Which is why our 1980s expedition was doomed to fail. Another round of arguing and shouting broke out. The quest is impossible, shouted the senator. We're doomed, cried a ghost. More Kool-Aid, yelled Dakota. Silence, Raina said. Raina called. Senators, we must act like Romans. Mars has given us this quest. We have to believe it is possible. These 3 demigods must travel to Alaska. They must free Thanatos and return before the Feast of Fortuna. If they can retrieve the lost eagle in the process, so much the better. So much the better. All we can do is advise them and make sure they have a plan. Raina looked at Percy without much hope. You do have a plan. Percy wanted to step forward bravely and say, No, I don't. That was the truth. Looking around all the nervous faces, Percy knew he couldn't say it. First, I need to understand something. He turned toward Nico. I thought Pluto was the god of the dead. Now I hear about this other guy, Thanatos, and the doors of death. That prophecy, and the prophecy of the 7. What does all that mean? Nico took a deep breath. Okay, Pluto was the god of the underworld, but the actual god of death, Pluto was responsible for making sure souls go to the afterlife and stay there. That's Pluto's lieutenant, Thanatos. He's like, well, imagine life and death are 2 different countries. Everybody would like to be in life, right? So there's a guarded board to keep them from crossing back over without permission. But it's a big border with a lot of holes in the fence. Pluto has to seal up the breaches, but new ones keep popping up all the time. That's why he depends on Thanatos. He's like the border patrol, the police. Thanatos catches souls, he said, and deports them back to the underworld? Exactly, Nico said. But now, Thanatos has been captured and chained up. Frank raised his hand. How do you chain death? It's been done before, Nico said. In the old days, a guy named Sisyphus tricked death and tied him up. Another time, Hercules wrestled him to the ground. And now, a giant has captured him, Percy said. So if we could free Thanatos, then the dead would stay dead. You can say, Gwen, no offense. It's more complicated than that, Nico said. Octavian rolled his eyes. Why does that not surprise me? You mean the doors of death? Raina said, ignoring Octavian. They are mentioning the prophecy of the 7, which sent their first expedition to Alaska. Kato, the ghost snorted. We all know how that turned out. We layers remember it. The other ghosts grumbled in agreement. Nico put his finger to his lips. Suddenly, all the layers went silent. Some looked alarmed, like their mouths had been glued together. Percy wished he had that power over certain living people, like Octavian, for instance. Thanatos is only part of the solution, Ego explained. The doors of death, well, it's a concept even I don't completely understand. There are many ways into the underworld. The river Styx, the door of Orpheus, plus smaller escape routes that open up from time to time. With Thanatos imprisoned, all those exits will be easier to use. Sometimes it might work to our advantage. And let a friendly soul come back, like Gwen here. More often, it will benefit evil souls and monsters, and sneaky ones who are looking to escape. Now, the doors of death. Those are the personal doors of Thanatos, his fast lane between life and death. Only Thanatos is supposed to know where they are. The location shifts over the ages. If I understand correctly, the doors of death have been forced open. Gaia's minions have seized control of them, which means Gaia controls who can come back from the dead, Percy guessed. Nico nodded. She could pick and choose who to let out. The worst monsters, the most evil souls. If we rescue Thanatos, that means at least he can catch souls again and send them below. Monsters will die when we kill them. Like they used to, and we'll get a little breathing room. But unless we're able to retake the doors of death, our enemies won't stay down for long. They'll have an easy way back to the world of living, so we can catch up and deport them. Damn. Percy Jackson, manager of ICE. Percy summed up, but they'll just keep coming back across. In a depressing nutshell, yes. Frank scratched his head, but Thanatos knows where the doors are, right? If we free him, he can retake them. I don't think so, Nico said. Not alone. He's no match for Gaia. That would take a massive quest, an army of the best demigods. Foes bear arms to the doors of death, Rita said. That's the prophecy of the seven. She looked at Percy, and for just a moment, he could see how scared she was. She did a good job of hiding it. Percy wondered if she'd have nightmares about Gaia too. If she'd seen visions of what would happen when the camp was invaded by monsters that couldn't be killed. If this begins the ancient prophecy, we don't have resources to send any army to these doors of death and protect the camp. I can't imagine even sparing 7 demigods. First things first, Percy tried to sound confident, though he could feel the level of panic rising in the room. I don't know who the 7 are, or what that old prophecy means exactly, but first, we have to free Thanatos. Mars told us we only need 3 people for the quest to Alaska. Let's concentrate on succeeding with that and getting back before the Feast of Fortuna. Then we can worry about the doors of death. Yeah, Frank said in a small voice. It's probably enough for 1 week. So you do have a plan, Octavian asked skeptically. Percy looked at his teammates. We go to Alaska as fast as possible, and we improvise, Hazel said. A lot, Frank added. That's Percy's kind of plan. You love to see it. Raina studied them. She looked like she was mentally writing her own obituary. Very well, she said. Nothing remains except for us to vote what support we can give the quest transportation. Money, we can give the quest. Transportation, money, magic weapons. Praetor, if I may, Octavian said. Oh great, Percy muttered. Here it comes. The camp is in grave danger, Octavian said. 2 gods have warned us we will be attacked 4 days from now. We must not spread our resources too thin, especially by funding projects that have slim chances of success. Octavian looked at the 3 of them with pity. I have to say, poor little things. Mars has clearly chosen the least likely candidates for this quest. Perhaps this is because he considered them the most expendable. Perhaps Mars is playing the long odds. Whatever the case, he wisely didn't order a massive expedition, nor did he ask us to fund their adventure. I say we keep our resources here and defend the camp. This is where the battle will be lost or won. If they used to succeed, wonderful, but they should do so by their own ingenuity. Well, not that bad. An uneasy murmur passed through the crowd. Frank jumped to his feet. Before he could start a fight, Percy said, "Fine, no problem, but at least give us transportation. Gaia is the Earth goddess, right? Going over land across the Earth, I'm guessing we should avoid that. Plus it'll be too slow." Octavian laughed. "Would you like us to charter you an airplane?" The idea made Percy nauseous. No air travel. I have a feeling that'd be bad too. But a boat. Can you at least give us a boat? Hazel made a grunting sound. Percy glanced over. She shook her head and mouthed, "Fine, I'm fine." "A boat," Octavian transcenders. "The son of Neptune wants a boat. Sea travel has never been the Roman way, but he isn't much of a Roman." "Octavian," Raiden said sternly, "boat is little enough to ask. Providing no other aid seems very traditional." Octavian exclaimed. "It is very traditional. Let us see if these questers have the strength to survive without help, like true Romans." More muttering filled the chamber. The senator's eyes moved back and forth between Octavian and Reyna, watching the test of wills. Reyna straightened in her chair. "Very well," she said tightly. "We'll put it to a vote, senators. The motion is as follows. The quest shall go to Alaska. The Senate shall provide full access to the Roman Navy docked in Alameda. No other aid will be forthcoming. The 3 adventurers will survive or fail on their own merits. All in favor?" Every senator's hand went up. "The motion is passed." Reyna turned to Frank. "Centurion, your party is excused. The Senate has other matters to discuss, and Octavian, if I may confer with you for a moment." Percy was incredibly glad to see the sunlight. In that dark hall, with all those eyes on him, he felt like the whole world was riding on his shoulders. He was fairly sure he'd had that experience before. You better believe it, Jackson. He filled his lungs with fresh air. Hazel picked up a large emerald from the path and slipped it in her pocket. "So, we're pretty much toast." Frank nodded miserably. "If either of you wants to back out, I wouldn't blame you." "Are you kidding?" Hazel said. And pull sentry duty for the rest of the week?" Frank managed to smile. He turned to Percy. Percy gazed across the forum. "Stay put," Annabeth had said in his dream. But if he stayed put, this camp would be destroyed. He looked up at the hills and imagined Gaia's face, smiling in the shadows and ridges. "You can't win, little demigod," she seemed to say. "Serve me by staying, or serve me by going." Percy had made a silent vow. After the Feast of Fortuna, he would find Annabeth, but for now, he had to act. He couldn't let Gaia win. "I'm with you," he told Frank. "Besides, I want to check out the Roman Navy." They were only halfway across the forum when someone called, "Jackson!" Percy turned and saw Octavian jogging toward them. "What do you want?" Percy asked. Octavian smiled. Already decided I'm your enemy. It's a rash choice." "Percy, I'm a loyal Roman." Frank snarled. "You backstabbing slammy." Both Percy and Hazel had to restrain him. "Oh dear," Octavian said. "How the right behavior for a new centurion." "Jackson, I only followed you because Reyna charged me with a message. She wants you to report to the Principia without your 2 lackeys here. Reyna will meet you there after the Senate adjourns. She'd like a private word with you before you leave on your quest." "What about?" Percy said. "I'm sure I don't know." Octavian smiled wickedly. "The last person she had a private talk with was Jason Grace, and that was the last time I ever saw him. Good luck, and goodbye, Percy Jackson." Because Percy's special as shit. That was a really good chapter. I really liked that one. I really liked that discussion. I like that setting for it. Like putting Percy. I like when they make it feel like they're making grand world-changing decisions, because they are. But I really like when it really sets us in that setting. I wonder if we'll get to 200 before the stream ends. We might just, because we have 30 minutes left, 21 pages. What do you guys think? Also, this is a far breezier read than Mistborn is. Mistborn is very thick. Yeah. So. Yeah. 193 is fine if we get there. 193? Okay, we'll see. We'll see where it's probably a chapter end. So I imagine that, you know, we might have to end it there. Okay. We'll see. But yeah, let's continue. Percy, 15. Percy was glad Riptide had to return to his pocket. Judging from Raina's expression, he thought he might need to defend himself. She stormed into the Principia with her purple cloak billowing and her greyhound at her feet. Percy was sitting in one of the praetor chairs that he pulled to the visitor's side, which maybe wasn't the proper thing to do. He started to get up. "Stay seated," Raina growled. "You leave after lunch. We have a lot to discuss." She plunked down her dagger so hard the jelly bean bowl rattled. I mean, I'm guessing I'm really gonna like this one too, because I've been waiting for them to talk. But I feel like there's gonna be some really cool discussion stuff here. She flung down her dagger so hard the jelly bean bowl rattled. Orem and Argentum took their posts on her left and right and fixed their ruby eyes on Percy. "What'd I do wrong?" Percy asked. "If it's about the chair, it's not you," Raina scowled. "I hate Senate meetings. When Octavian gets talking..." Percy nodded. "You're a warrior. Octavian is a talker. Put him in front of the Senate, and suddenly he becomes the powerful one." She narrowed her eyes. "You're smarter than you look." "Yeah, I didn't even know you were that smart, Percy, and I've been in your head for 5 books. "Gee, thanks. I hear Octavian might get elected praetor, assuming the camp survives that long. Which brings us to the subject of doomsday," Raina said, "and how you might be able to prevent it. Before I place the fate of Camp Jupiter in your hands, we need to get a few things straight." She sat down. Oh, is she gonna tell him how she knows him? She sat down and put a ring on the table. A band of silver, etched with a sword and torch design, like Raina's tattoo. "Do you know what this is?" "Son of your mom," Percy said. The war goddess." He tried to remember the name, but he didn't want to get it wrong. Something like bologna or salami. "Bellona." Yeah. Yes. Oh my god. He's so mean. Raina scrutinized him carefully. "You don't remember where you saw this ring before? You don't remember me or my sister, Hilla?" Percy shook his head. I'm sorry. It would have been 4 years ago, just before you came to camp." Raina frowned. "How did you... You've got 4 stripes on your tattoo." 4 years. Raina looked at her forearm. Was she in one of the first books? There's no way, right? "Of course, it seems so long ago. I suppose you wouldn't recall me, even if you had your memory. I was just a girl. One attendant among so many at the spa." Was she at Cece's? There's no way. "But you spoke with my sister just before you and Annabeth and the other one, Annabeth, destroyed our home." Was she at... Oh my god, was she at the spa in the Sea of Monsters? There's no freaking way. Percy tried to remember. He really did. For some reason, Annabeth and he had visited a spa and decided to destroy it. He couldn't imagine why. Maybe they hadn't like the deep tissue massage. Maybe they'd forgotten. Maybe they'd gotten bad manicures. After I first read this chapter, I bolted to Sea of Monsters. Dog, I'm about to grab that book in a fat minute. We're about to scroll through because I need to remember refresh. I need to refresh. That's crazy. Fucking foreshadowing out the walls. I wonder if they actually spoke. That'd be insane. It's a blank, he said. "Since your dogs aren't attacking me, I hope you believe me. I'm telling you the truth." Orm and Argentum snarled. Percy got the feeling they were thinking, "Please lie. Please lie." Raina tapped the silver ring. "I believe you're sincere," she said. "But not everyone at camp does. Octavian thinks you're a spy. He thinks you were sent by Gaia to find our weaknesses and distract us. He believes the old legends about the Greeks." Old legends? Raina's hand rested halfway between her dagger and the jelly beans. Percy had a feeling that if she made a sudden move, she wouldn't be grabbing for the candy. "Some believe Greek demigods still exist," she said. "Heroes who follow the older form of the gods. There are legends of battles between Romans and Greek heroes. Yeah, well, you're about to be a little bit, freaking, what's the word? Surprised. Because they do exist. Percy's one of them, and yeah, he's gonna save your life. The new trip. There are legends of battles between Roman and Greek heroes in relatively modern times. The American Civil War, for instance. I have no proof of this, and if our layers know anything, they refuse to say. But Octavian believes the Greeks are still around, plotting our downfall, working with the forces of Gaia. He thinks you are one of them. Is that what you believe? I believe you came from somewhere, she said. You're important and dangerous. 2 gods have taken a special interest in you since you arrived. So I can't believe you'd work against Olympus, or Rome. She shrugged. Of course, I could be wrong. Perhaps the gods sent you here to test my judgment. But I think you were sent here to make up for the loss of Jason. Jason. Because you couldn't go very far in the camp without hearing that name. Unfortunately, Jason has less aura than Percy, so when I hear that, I'm not like, oh, Jason. I'm like, oh, okay, Jason. Whatever you did in the book series that hasn't come out yet, that I want to see come out, that is cool. I'm sure. I hope before Rick stops writing books. Like, I don't know why he did Trials of Apollo. I would love to see fucking Jason Grace and the Olympians. The fucking when all of his things. That'd be really cool. And his rise to Praetor and all that. That'd be nice to see. I think they were just background characters, probably, but I still want to go back and check just to see. The Greeks aren't planning anything other than the next Bonfire sing-along. Being the son of the big 3's automatic aura. I'm sorry, I don't know any of Jason's feats, so I can't feel any aura when she says Jason. Jason Grace just doesn't hit as hard as Percy Jackson. When they glaze Percy, I'm like, yeah, I know what you did, bro, but I don't know anything about Jason. So they gotta release Jason Grace and the Olympians. That's what I want. I need that series to come out. That would go crazy. I would love that. The way you talk about him, Percy said, were you two a couple? Raina's eyes bore into him, like the eyes of a hungry wolf. Percy had seen enough hungry wolves to know. We might have been, Raina said, given time. Oh, so they weren't together, so we're gonna have a little love triangle. I'm sorry, Pipes. I'm rooting for Raina. I'm sorry, Pipes. Given time, Praetors work closely together. It's common for them to become romantically involved. But Jason was only Praetor for a few months before he disappeared. Ever since then, Octavian's been pestering me, agitating for new elections. I've resisted. I need a partner in power. But I'd prefer someone like Jason, a warrior, not a schemer. She waited. Percy realized she was sending him a silent invitation. His throat went dry. Oh, you mean, oh. Bro, I have a girlfriend, bro. Chill out, Raina. I will give the god to you to help me, Raina said. I don't understand where you come from, any more than I understood it 4 years ago. Dang, so when he showed up on her doorstep, he was like, the goat. I knew him when he was goated 4 years ago, and he's goated again now. But I think your arrival was some sort of repayment. You destroyed my home once. Now you've been sent to save my home. I don't hold a grudge against you for the past, Percy. My sister hates you still, it's true. But fate brought me here to Camp Jupiter. I've done well. All I ask is that you work with me for the future. I intend to save this camp. The metal dog glared at him. Their mouth frozen. Dang, my nose is itching. It's so frustrating. The metal dogs glared at him, their mouths frozen in snarl mode. Percy found Raina's eyes a lot harder to meet. Look, I'll help, he promised, but I'm new here. You've got a lot of good people who know this camp better than I do. If we succeed in this quest, Hazel and Frank will be heroes. You could ask one of them. Please, Raina said. No one will follow a child to Pluto. There's something about that girl. Remember about where she came from. No, she won't do. As for Frank Zhang, he has a good heart, but he's hopelessly naive and inexperienced. Besides, the others found out about his family history at this camp. Family history. The point is, Percy, you are the real power on this quest. You are a seasoned veteran. I've seen what you can do. I've said Neptune would be my first choice, but if you return successfully from this mission, the Legion might be saved. The praetorship will be yours for the taking. Together, you and I could expand the power of Rome. We could raise an army, find the doors of death, crush Gaia's forces, and once and for all, you would find me a very helpful friend. I hope Rain is in the rest of the series. I really like her. She's one of my favorite new characters. I'm liking her more than Hazel and Frank so far. So I really hope she's in the rest of the series. I know she's not gonna be one of the what's it called, the gods, the 7. But I still would really like her to be in the series. She said that like it could have several meanings, and he could pick which one. Percy's feet started tapping on the floor, anxious to run. Raina, I'm honored and all, but seriously, I've got a girlfriend and I don't want power or praetorship. Percy really remembers he's got a girlfriend. He's like, listen, bro, I've got a girlfriend, bro. Like, I don't remember much, but I do remember that. Percy was afraid he'd make her mad, and said she just raised her eyebrows. A man who turns down power, she said. That's not very Roman of you. Just think about it. In 4 days, I have to make a choice. If we had to fight off an invasion, you must have 2 strong praetors. I'd prefer you, but if you fail on your quest, or don't come back, or refuse my offer, well, I'll work with Octavian. I need to save this camp, Percy Jackson. Things are worse than you realize. Well, we don't have to freaking, what's it called? Be, motherfucking, in a relationship with her to be Praetor, but he doesn't want that either. And also, she doesn't know this, but Jason's gonna be back by then, so it's chilling. Brother arrived at camp less than 24 hours ago, and they already asked him to be up in the highest position. Oh my god, imagine showing up to America and walking into a McDonald's and then being like, Mr. President, please come to the White House right now. What are you talking about? He showed up with one hell of a resume, to be frank. He doesn't even know his own resume. Bro, his aura speaks for himself. Hazel was literally like, is that God right there? Percy remembered what Frank had said about the monster attacks, but getting more frequent. How bad. Raina's nails dug into the table. Even the Senate doesn't know the whole truth. The best Octavian not to share his auguries, or we'd have mass panic. He's seen a great army marching south. More than we can possibly defeat. They're led by a giant. Alcyonius? I don't think so. If he is truly invulnerable in Alaska, he'd be foolish to come here himself. It must be one of his brothers. Great, Percy said. So we've got 2 giants to worry about. More like 11. If that one that Jason defeated is still dead. The Praetor nodded. Lupa and her wolves are trying to slow them down, but this force is too strong, even for them. The enemy will be here soon, by the Feast of Fortuna, at the very latest. Percy shuddered. He'd seen Lupa in action. He knew all about the wolf goddess and her pack. If this enemy was too powerful for Lupa, Camp Jupiter didn't stand a chance. Raina read his expression. Yes, it's bad, but not hopeless. If you succeed in bringing back our eagle, if you release death so we can actually kill our enemies, then we stand a chance. And there's one more possibility. Raina slid the silver ring across the table. I can't give you much help, but your journey will take you close to Seattle. I'm asking you for a favor, which may also help you. Find my sister, Hilla. Your sister, the one who hates me? Oh yes, Raina agreed. She would love to kill you, but show her that ring as a token from me, and she may help you instead. May. I can't speak for her. In fact, Raina frowned. In fact, I haven't spoken to her in weeks. She's gone silent. With these armies passing through, you want me to check in on her, Percy guessed. Make sure she's okay. Partially. Yes. I can't imagine she'd been overcome. My sister has a powerful force. Her territory is well defended. But if you can find her, she could offer you valuable help. It can mean the difference between success and failure on your quest. And if you tell her what's happening here, she might send help, Percy asked. Raina didn't answer. Percy could see the desperation in her eyes. She was terrified, grasping for anything that could save her camp. No wonder she wanted Percy's help. She was only the praetor. She was the only praetor. The defensive camp rested on her shoulders alone. Percy took the ring. I'll find her. Where do I look? What kind of force does she have? Don't worry. Just go to Seattle. They'll find you. That didn't sound encouraging. But Percy slipped the ring into his leather necklace with his beads and his probatio tablet. Wish me luck. Fight well, Percy Jackson, Ernest said. And thank you. He could tell the audience was over. Raina was having trouble holding herself together, keeping up the image of the confident commander. She needed some time by herself. But at the door of Principia, Percy couldn't resist, turning. How do we destroy your home? That spa where you lived. The metal greyhounds growled. Raina tapped her fingers to silence them. You destroyed the power of our mistress, she said. You freed some prisoners, who took revenge on all of us who lived on the island. My sister and I, well, we survived. It was difficult, but in the long run, I think we are better off away from that place. Still, I'm sorry, Percy said. If I hurt you, I'm sorry. Raina gazed at him for a long time, as if trying to translate his words. An apology? Not very Roman at all, Percy Jackson. You'd make an interesting praetor. I hope you'll think about my offer. What the fuck? Romans don't apologize. What was he supposed to say? And I'm good. I'm glad I destroyed your home. Fucking bitch. Percy's aura is becoming too strong. It is having an Aphrodite-like effect where people just want to give him more power. You love to see it. All right, I think this next chapter, that one, I was right. That was also a really good chapter. I think this next one is going to be the last one, though. Look at this. We're about like this far. We're almost halfway through. Look at us. Look at us go. Some Neptune has been great so far. Definitely better than The Lost Hero. Noticeably better than The Lost Hero. But I'm wondering how the exact quest. Just finished The Lost Hero like 5 minutes ago. Oh, what's up, Crystal Rudy Cootie? What is this? Crystal Rudy Cootie Wicks 7202? I've definitely never seen you before. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, if you just finished The Lost Hero and you haven't read Son of Neptune, you might want to leave because we are halfway through this in this stream, you know. But catch up to where we are, which is chapter 16, and maybe come back next time. That's interesting. They can come across each other if they're not at their camps yet. Yeah, that isn't. I mean, I would imagine that's the case. Like I imagine like they walk past each other, but they don't know like, oh, you're from the Roman camp, you're from the Greek camp, yada yada yada. Like because their mythologies are very intertwined, right? And it's just kind of like this thing of like, oh, we see you doing some stuff, but like once we know that like who we are, oh, I'm a Roman, whatever, that I imagine their interactions are lessened. But she didn't really know like anything about Percy at the time, so. And also maybe she did. She probably just assumed he was a Roman soldier. So because they leave and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that chapter was really good. I figured as much. I am very happy with it. I'm very happy with some Neptune. I'm very curious to see how the actual quest is going to go. And that actual quest is going to end up being more interesting than the Lost Hero quest. The Lost Hero quest was very ish. We'll see. I think page 513 is the end, so we are like 1/3 of the way through. I see. Yeah. It's just, you could tell from looking at this. Yeah, I was just saying, like I imagine next stream will be halfway. So, anyways, but let's get into what is probably the last chapter for this stream. Definitely the last chapter for this stream. Number 16, Percy again. 4 back-to-back Percys. Can we stop? Can we stop, Rick? Please, can we stop? I don't know. I don't like this pattern. That's the only thing I don't like so far, really. Lunch felt like a funeral party. Everybody ate. People talked in hushed tones. Nobody seemed particularly happy. The other campers kept glancing over at Percy like he was the corpus of honor. Raina made a brief speech, wishing them luck. Octavian ripped open a Beanie Baby and pronounced grave omens and hard times ahead, but the camp would be saved by an unexpected hero, whose initials were probably Octavian. When the other campers went off to the afternoon classes, gladiator fighting, Latin lessons, paintball with ghosts, eagle training, and a dozen other activities that sounded better than the suicide quest. No, suicide quests sound fun. Also, what chapters are we not reading on stream? Bro, ask Bonnie that question. I don't know. So far, it looks like I'm reading this whole thing on stream. I don't know. Which is fine to me, but we're just going to end up getting through it slower. But Bonnie's been telling me that just to pick up from where you left off, so that's what I've been doing. Where was I? Percy followed Hazel and Frank to the barracks to pack. Percy didn't have much. She cleaned up his backpack from his trip south, and had kept most of his bargain marks supplies. He had a fresh pair of jeans and an extra purple t-shirt from the camp quartermaster, plus some nectar, ambrosia, snacks, a little mortal money, and camping supplies. At lunch, Raina had him handle a scroll of introduction from the Praetor and Camp Senate. Had handed him a scroll of introduction. Supposedly, any retired legionnaires they met on the trip would help if have shown the letter. He also kept his leather necklace with the beads, a silver ring, and the probatio tablet, and of course, he had wrote that in his pocket. He folded his tattered orange t-shirt and left it on his bunk. "I'll be back," he said. He felt pretty stupid, talking to a t-shirt, but he was really thinking of Annabeth and his old life. "I'm not leaving for good, but I have to help these guys. They took me in. They deserve to survive." The t-shirt didn't answer. Thankfully, one of their roommates, Bobby, gave them a ride to the border of the valley. On Hannibal, the elephant, from the hilltops, Percy could see everything below. The little Tiber snaked across the golden pastures where the unicorns were grazing. The temples and forums of New Rome gleamed in the sunlight. On the field of Mars, engineers were hard at work, pulling down the remains of last night's fort and setting up barricades for a game of death ball. A normal day for Camp Jupiter. But on the northern horizon, storm clouds were gathering. Shadows moved across the hills, and Percy imagined the face of Gaia getting closer and closer. "Work with me for the future," Raina had said. "I intend to save this camp." Looking down at the valley, Percy understood why she cared so much. Even though he was new to Camp Jupiter, he felt a fierce desire to protect this place, a safe haven where demigods could build their lives. He wanted that part to be of his future. Bonnie just don't have him read interesting parent conversations off stream this time. Oh. Yeah, just don't give me what's it called? Freaking narrative plot shit. That's cool. The next section's middle is hard to map out. Chapters with not much going on, or chapters that have a lot going on. Basically impossible to section out when there are important bits sprinkled in. I see. How do I put this? Especially for 2 hour read streams. I'll say this. If I end up reading this entire thing on stream, I don't really care. But if we're portioning things out, if we're looking for things to portion out, basically she's saying this book is too goated to skip anything. Hey, if that's the case, that's fine, and it's just gonna take me a longer time to get through this one, and that's fine too. But yeah, but then we still got Mark of Athena, Hades, and Blood of Olympus to get through. So we're just gonna be taking our sweet time with this one, I imagine. But yeah. So, but if there is something, just like if it's just a conversation between the friend, if it's something that my reaction would be interesting to see on stream, then that I imagine you prioritize. But if everything's great with plot stuff, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure. I'm just trying to figure it out too. I don't really know how it's gonna go, but like I said, it's whatever. Yeah, I'll try. Okay. Just Yeah, it's and like I said, it's no biggie because like I don't mind reading it all. I really don't. Because this book has been really good so far. So, maybe not the way Raina imagined, but if he could share this place with Annabeth. They got off the elephant. Bobby wished them a safe journey. Hannibal wrapped the three questers with his trunk. And the elephant taxi service headed back into the valley. Percy sighed. He turned to Hazel and Frank and tried to think of something upbeat to say. A familiar voice said, "IDs, please." A statue of Terminus appeared at the summit of the hill. The god's marble face frowned irritably. "Well, come along. You again, Percy. I thought you just guarded the city." Terminus, "I'm glad to see you too, Mr. Wolflauter. Normally, yes, I guard the city, but for international departures, I like to provide extra security for the camp at the camp borders. You should have allowed 2 hours before your planned departure, you know? Oh my god." "We'll have to make do. Now come over here so I can pat you down." Oh my god, he's fucking what's it called? The goddamn the TA, PTA, the tech people, airplane tech security, TSA, that's what it is. He's TSA. "But you don't have..." Percy stopped himself. Sure." He stood next to an armless statue. Terminus conducted a rigorous mental pat down. You seem to be clean," Terminus detected. "Do you have anything to declare?" "Yes," Percy said. "I declare this is stupid." Probatio tablet, Percy Jackson, 5th cohort, son of Neptune. Fine, go. Hazel Levesque, daughter of Pluto. Fine. Any foreign currency or precious metals to declare? No, she muttered. Are you sure? Terminus asked, because last time, no. Well, this is a grumpy bunch, said the god. Crest travelers, always in a rush. Now let's see. Frank Shane. Ah, Centurion. Well done. Fucking, that has the same energy as, like, I don't know if you guys have seen fucking Spy Kids 2. In the when Gary and Gertie are getting in the, this is such a nerdy random reference, but when Gary and Gertie are getting in the fucking boat, and then he's like, "Oh, you have quest fucking X24QXJ," and they get in the thing, and then fucking Carmen and Jumi and Yukata assignment, very nice, and they go. That's what I thought of. What is it? Frank Zhang, Centurion. Well done, Frank. And that haircut is regulation. Perfect, I approve. Off you go then, Centurion Zhang. Do you need any directions? No, I guess not. Just down to the BART station. Terminus said, and anyway, change trains at 12th Street on Oakland. You want Fruitvale Station from there. That's a Michael B. Jordan movie. From there you can walk or take the bus to Olympus. You guys don't have a magical BART train or something? Percy asked. Magic trains, Terminus scoffled. You'll be wanting your own security lane. You'll be wanting your own security lane and a pass to the executive lounge next. Just travel safely and watch out for polyboats. Talk about scofflaws. Bah! I wish I could throttle him with my bare hands. Wait, who? Percy asked. Terminus made a straining expression like he was flexing his non-existent biceps. Ah well, just be careful of him. I imagine he can smell son of Neptune a mile away. Out you go. Now, good luck. An invisible force kicked them across the boundary. When Percy looked back, Terminus was gone. In fact, the entire valley was gone. The Berkeley Hills seemed to be free of any Roman camp. Interesting. Percy looked at his friends. Any idea what Terminus was talking about? Watch out for political something or other? Polybites. Hazel sounded out that name carefully. Never heard of him. Sounds Greek, Frank said. That narrows it down, Percy sighed. Well, it probably just appeared on the smell radar for every monster within 5 miles. We better get moving. Don't let all the pressure get to you. Don't mess it up. Spy Kids 2 has one of the hardest lines ever, and it was lived by Steve Buscemi of all people. It does. Spy Kids 2 is also, that's the thing that only gets talked about, but Spy Kids 2 is also just a really good movie, and I will stand on that. Do you think that God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created? Yeah, it's great. It took them 2 hours to reach the docks. Oh, skip 2 hour walk. It took them 2 hours to reach the docks. in Alameda. Compared to Percy's last few months, the trip was easy. No monsters attacked, nobody looked at Percy like he was a homeless wild child. Frank had stored his spear, bow, and quiver in a long bag made for skis. Hazel's cavalry sword was wrapped in a bedroll slung on her back. Together, the three of them looked like normal high schoolers on their way to an overnight trip. Dang, that's crazy. They have to keep their weapons in crazy big things. They don't got any magic stuff, freaking losers. They walked to the Rockridge station, bought their tickets with mortal money, and hopped on the bar train. They got off in Oakland. They had to walk through some rough neighborhoods, but nobody bothered them. Whenever the local gang members came close enough to look in Percy's eyes, they quickly veered away. He reflected his wolf stare over the last few months. A look that said, however bad you think you are, I'm worse. Oh my god, that's so goofy. Conqueror's hockey. After strangling sea monsters or running over Gorgons in a police car, Percy wasn't scared of gangs. Pretty much nothing in the mortal world scared him anymore. In the late afternoon, they made it to Alameda docks. Percy looked out over San Francisco Bay and breathed in the salty sea air. Immediately he felt better. This was his father's domain. Whatever they faced, he'd have the upper hand as long as they were at sea. Dozens of boats were moored at the docks. Everything from 50-foot yachts to 10-foot fishing boats. He scanned the slips for some sort of magic vessel. A T-Rimmerme. Yeah, that word. Maybe or a dragon-headed warship like he'd seen in his dreams. You guys know what we're looking for? Hazel and Frank shook their heads. I didn't even know we had a navy. Hazel sounded as if she wished there wasn't one. Oh, Frank pointed. You don't think... Bro, you're with the sun on Neptune. Chill, it's gonna be fine. You don't think... At the end of the dock was a tiny boat, like a dinghy, covered in a purple tarp, embroidered in a faded gold along the canvas with SPQR. Percy's confidence wavered. No way. He uncovered the boat, his hands working the knots, like he'd been doing it his whole life. Under the tarp was an old steel rowboat with no oars. The boat had been painted dark blue at one point, but the hull was so crusted with tar and salt it looked like one massive nautical bruise. On the bow, the name Pax was still readable. Lettered in gold, painted eyes drooped sadly at the water level, as if the boat were about to fall asleep. On board were two benches, some steel wool, an old cooler, and a mound of frayed rope, with one end tied to the mooring. At the bottom of the boat, a plastic bag and 2 empty Coke cans floated in several inches of scummy water. I like how in Lost Hero, Jason finally, Jason flew in the air. It's the first time we ever flew in the air in the entire series, pretty much. Except what's it called? In The Lightning Thief, when Percy had the lightning bolt. But we did that for the quest, and this one we're doing the Percy thing, because he can't fly in the air because he's a child of Zeus. I love that. Nah, you might just be reading this whole thing because there's like 2 chapters that would happen during next stream that are 11 pages that have little plot-wise that and don't need to react to it. It happens to be in between 2 chapters you absolutely need to read on stream. Oof. You know what? That's all good. No worries. We're just gonna keep it pushing. That I get it. I get you. Don't even worry about it. We will truck on. Behold, Frank said, the mighty Roman Navy. There's got to be a mistake. This is a piece of junk. Oh my god. That's fucking great. Percy imagined Octavian laughing at them, but he decided not to let it get him down. The Pax was still a boat. He jumped aboard, and the hull hummed under his feet, responding to his presence. Yeah, you're still with us on Neptune, don't even trip. He gathered up the garbage in the cooler and put it on the dock. He willed the scummy water to flow over the sides and out of the boat. Then he pointed at the steel wool and it flew across the floor, scrubbing and polishing so fast the steel began to smoke. When it was done, the boat was clean. Percy pointed at the rope, and it untied itself from the boat. From the dock, no oars, but that didn't matter. Percy could tell the boat was ready to move, just awaiting his command. "This'll do," he said. "Hop in." Hazel and Frank looked a little stunned, but they climbed aboard. Hazel seemed especially nervous. They had settled on the seats. Percy concentrated, and then the boat slipped away from the dock. Juno was right, you know. The sleepy voice of Gaia whispered in Percy's head, startling him so badly the boat rocked. You could have chosen a new life in the sea. You would have been safe from me there. Now it's too late. You chose pain and misery. You're part of my plan now, my important little pawn. Get off my shit! Percy growled. Oh, what? Frank asked. Percy waited, but the voice of Gaia was silent. Nothing, he said. Let's see what this rowboat can do. Dang, that would have been confusing as hell. I would have been scared as shit from that guy. If Percy just yelled at me. Nothing, he said. Let's see what this rowboat can do. He turned the boat to the north, and in no time, they were speeding along at 15 knots, heading for the Golden Gate Bridge. All right. Next chapter, we're gonna get into Hazel. Next stream. Next chapter, next stream. Both things. Yeah. So far, Percy, Raina, Hazel, Frank are my favorite characters in this new book. But I guess the new characters are Raina, Hazel, Frank. At this point, you might as well swim. If it was just Percy, he probably would swim if it was just him by himself. But, he's got 2 people with him, so he's got to, carry along the dead weight, I know this book's going to be mostly Percy doing all the work, and them just looking and going, woo, Percy! Because that's what heroes do, But, no, I'm kidding. I'm sure Hazel and Frank are going to do some cool stuff, too. Because they have to make us like them. So we'll see what happens. It is crazy, though, that my favorite character in this new book so far is a character that is not one of the perspective characters. But Hazel's really interesting, mostly because she's tied to Nico. I think Hazel's interesting regardless of that. But freaking Frank is just, I don't know. Frank's whatever. He's cool. He's probably my least favorite of the 7 so far. But yeah. Do you think Percy could summon crashed ships out of the sea to use one more time? Honestly, maybe. If he tried, probably. I'm not sure. Because that's kind of also an Ares thing, right? Like Ares brings up ships of old dead sailors. Keep that in the Sea of Monsters for Clarice. So that's real. So that's a thing. But I'm not sure. Possibly. But yeah, this section of chapters was really good. A lot better than the last section. Not the last section was good, but the first section was really interesting that we did in the first stream, and the second section was whatever. And this last section was really good. But now, next time, the Mars stuff was awesome. I agree, Mugetsu. Very great. I really like that, and the introduction of him being the that kid. I'm curious though. Like, we got a child of Aphrodite and a child of Hephaestus, as which are gods that really haven't been explored that much. But then we get like kids of Pluto and kids of Mars, which is Ares and Hades, which are like gods we did explore a lot last series. So personally, if I would have kind of almost preferred like maybe kids of whoever the Roman version of Dionysus is, or Apollo or something. Maybe, or like, yeah, maybe those guys. I know Artemis doesn't have any kids or whatever, but that would have just been cool. But still, I'm interested to see what these characters can do. If can make this garbage work, I wouldn't be surprised to see Percy ride a surfboard at 60 miles per hour across the sea. That would be freaking sick. I would love that. Diverse in race, but not godly parents. Baby steps with Rick. Yeah, clearly. But I still think it's cool. I mean, we have gotten like, isn't like Will Solace a character who's a kid of Apollo or something? And I think he's important at some point. I don't know. I've heard that, or I think he was in the last series a little bit. Something. But yeah, or maybe I know, or Demeter kids. Is Demeter still a thing? I don't like. Does she have kids that are there? Like, I don't know. But regardless, it's still cool to see. But finally, the quest has begun, and we will be getting into the quest next time. So I'm very, very excited to see what that will entail. And I'm honestly really excited because it doesn't seem like, this is exactly what I wanted out of Team Neptune. This is yeah, they say Will's name, which makes him a character. Okay, but you know what I mean. But yeah. Oh my God. What about Hera? What'd she do? She doesn't have any kids. Is that what I said? But no, I freaking this is exactly what I wanted from this book. I wanted to see Percy's side of things, how we saw it from Jason. I was really worried, like, we were gonna start this book, and then Jason was gonna show up, and we really weren't gonna see Percy adjust to the Roman side of things on his own. But I think, talking about the season 3 casting for her. Oh yeah, we did get a Hera casting. We did. Ming-Na Wen. I thought that was really interesting. How do you guys feel about that? Good night, Anthony. But yeah, thanks for joining, man. But how do you guys feel about the Ming-Na Wen casting? Because I thought she was fine. Like, I like her and stuff. But I don't know. Like, some of their casting choices seem very weird. Like, wouldn't be on my list for, like, actors I would choose. Yes, hopefully that means we get that full room of gods. That happens on Titan's Curse. It does, doesn't it? Percy goes to Olympus on Titan's Curse, right? Or am I forgetting that? She has the face that screams, "How dare you exist in my presence?" Ming-Na Wen. She can cast that. They do, yes. You're so right. So excited. Never would have thought, but I love it. Yeah, I think she can probably do good. But I wouldn't have picked it. But we did. So yeah. So far we have Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. He's not gonna appear though. Hades, I don't think. Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. We have Ares. We have Athena. We have Hermes, Hera, Aphrodite, Artemis, Dionysus. We don't have Apollo yet. And there's one other that I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting someone. Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. We do have Apollo. No, Hestia is not one of the 12. There's 12 Olympian gods. They released the Apollo casting? Hold on, I need to look at this. Apollo casting, Percy Jackson. Hubert Schmickel. Who is this? Who is this guy? Why does that last photo look like a mugshot? Hubert Schmickel? Who are you, guy? What have you been in? How old is this guy? This guy looks like he's 15. Interesting. I've never even heard of this guy. Very unknown actor. I'm not mad at it. I love me a good unknown actor. Interesting. Okay. This guy's really... Hold on, let me put this on the screen. Just in case you guys haven't seen it. There we go. This dude... Freaking Hubert. This is Apollo. So that's a thing. Why is my shit not updating? It fits the hot guy description for sure. It does. And hold on, let me see. Freaking. What are the 12 Olympian gods again? Because I forget. I'm forgetting one of them. I named most of them. Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter. No, not Demeter. She's not on it. Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, Hermes. Okay. It was Zeus, Poseidon. He looks as old as Percy's actor. He does. He really does. Okay. I guess I did name all of them, but we have Zeus, we have Hera, we have Poseidon, we have Athena, Apollo now, Artemis, we have Ares, we have Hephaestus, we have Aphrodite, we have Hermes, and we have Dionysus. So we have basically everyone. So I think we might just, Artemis is cast, because Artemis is cast. Artemis is Daphne Keane. Otherwise, yeah, that's Daphne Keane. Me and Daphne Keane are actually married. Yeah, this is my wife, guys. You know, she's in the other room right now, but yeah, we've been married for a while now. I was really happy when she got this role. You know, I was like, she's like Kyler, oh my god, I know you do the Percy Jackson streams. Guess who I'm gonna be? I was like, oh my god, really? Her and Apollo, exactly. They right. She told me. I was like, wow, that's so great, honey. And, you know, but you know, she's shooting season 3 right now. So, you know, but I'm really proud of her for getting that role. So W. But yeah, no, we will probably see all 12 Olympian gods. That's gonna be really cool, actually. And hopefully season 3 is good enough to save the show, because it is in danger right now. I don't know if you guys know that or not. It is in danger because season 2. Holy shit, I know it has been a while, but I still think of her as a kid. Dude, it's been like, yeah, she was in Logan like 10 years ago. Like literally 10 years ago. Basically 9 years ago, but still, yeah, I get what she mean. I mean, she was in like she's been in his Dark Materials since then. She was in other stuff that I forget. Obviously X Deadpool and Wolverine. You know, Sea of Monsters was always the book before the good stuff started happening. I like it, but every other book, I completely agree. I think people are really over-hating on like the first 2 seasons and really overselling like the whole like Percy Jackson was like, no, I think the first 2 seasons have been mostly equivalent to the first 2 books. And like they're looking at it with those colored glasses. I think most people haven't really reread it, and I've read them really recently, so I know that season 1 is pretty good, not as good as book 1, but pretty good, like it's like here. And then season 2 is definitely better than Sea of Monsters. So I imagine that season 3, especially because it's the first time it's ever getting adapted, Titan's Curse, and they've been getting better at adapting it. Hopefully they personality up the show, because that's my one complaint. The show lacks a little bit of heart, a little bit of sauce. It needs to sauce it up, give us some more action scenes, give us some more color. Boom. Titan's Curse can definitely save the show. And yeah, so hopefully they do a good job. My thing is, I'm too much of a book purist, so I judge it harsher than most. I mean, I kind of get that, but one thing, I'm very open to adaptations, especially because it's just kind of a thing where you have to change stuff. Like books cannot be adapted like 1 for 1 into TV. It's just not gonna work. There are just things that you can do in books that you can't do in TV, and vice versa. So yeah, that's just kind of how it is. Is that why you like the One Piece live action? I like the One Piece live action because it's good. It's great. And listen, while it is not a perfect adaptation of East Blue by any means, they changed so much, it still keeps the heart of the show, the heart of the characters, and it feels like One Piece. And you can tell everybody loves it. Everybody who's working on it loves it, and it feels like the same story. While it's not exactly beat for beat the same, it feels the same, which is the most important part. It just has to feel like One Piece. But book 2 was the weakest. Book 2 was the weakest for sure. But they made it better. So maybe they can make Titan's Curse better. Ever since season 2, I've just been along for the ride. Very recent, I know, but I've been able to appreciate the show so much more. I think it's a good show. I think when season 3 comes out in December, we're probably gonna get a really great Titan's Curse season that hopefully saves the show and gets us all the seasons, because like the numbers went down for season 2. People didn't really like season 1, which I can get it, but like stop crying about it. Like, it's just not a great adaptation, but they're figuring it out. Disney's really weird about things, but hey, they're doing good. and they seem to be going all in with it. There's a lot of great stuff they did in season 2 that's way better than season 1. Episodes 4, 7, and 8 are great. 5 is also really good. So Seasons Island, they're like a lot of really good stuff. So yeah. But yeah, One Piece live action, dude, is great. Season 2 One Piece live action comes out in 20 days. Best believe. I don't know what day that is. If that's a Friday, is that a Friday? Hold on, let me check. Because if that's a Friday, we're not getting a stream. I'm telling you that right now. No, it's a Tuesday. Oh, y'all are so lucky. It's a Tuesday. Because I'm watching that twice on a Tuesday. I promise you I am when the season 2 comes out. Better believe. That's what I still don't feel season 2 made the changes that made it better than the book. Well, you're wrong. We can talk about it, because the thing is, with the book, with season 2, the problem with Sea of Monsters is that, one, Percy doesn't care as much about Grover as he should. The ending is weak, and the and a lot of the drama is low. So really, the way they fixed the show, they fixed the thing, is really with the ending. Like, the way that it is better than the book is because of the ending. Because the ending of Sea of Monsters is... Are you talking to me? Bonnie, it's okay to be wrong, because I know I'm not wrong. Season 2 is better than Sea of Monsters. I love Sea of Monsters. But, like, the ending of that book is not as good as any of the other books. Like the ending is so underwhelming. And it really drops the ball at the end. But the drama is way higher. Okay, good. The drama is way higher. The Clarice character work is way better. There's a lot that's way better in season 2 than in season 1. So and also in the book. So like, they added drama, they added tension in ways that didn't really roughly change the story that much. So I think it works really well, as opposed to like other things. Like, we're getting a lot better at adapting that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, we have a lot of great like fantasy adaptations coming out right now. Percy Jackson, One Piece, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't know if you guys watch Game of Thrones, but A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, that's been airing. Final episode of that comes out Sunday. Great. Absolutely great. So yeah, they are getting good at that shit. But yes, and so Titan's Curse, I'm excited, because not only do we get Nico, we get one of my favorite scenes in the top 5 scenes in the entire series, where Percy talks to Dionysus on the roof. We're gonna finally probably Jason Mantzoukas is gonna have to lock in for Dionysus on that scene, so that's gonna be a thing. You get to see Percy and Thalia's rivalry. We get to see freaking the Hercules parallels between him and Percy. Freaking Bianca is gonna freaking die. What else? Not Hazel. Who's that girl? That Apollo Huntress, Artemis Huntress girl. I forget her name. Zoe Nightshade. Zoe Nightshade's character. That fight with Atlas. Percy holding up the sky. Like Nightshade's death. And then the thing, and then the scene on Olympus. Dude, every single episode in Titan's Curse is going to be really good. And then the end, when Nico's like, I'm evil and I hate you, Percy Jackson, and I'll kill you in the next book. And then he doesn't. Live Forever in the Stars, bro. I remember tearing up reading that. Season 3 is going to slap. They have to hit it. If they don't hit it, the show is going to flop. It's going to flop. So yes, they need, and it'll be that much better, because I just think the director is like selling. The director is blanding. I know the director is blanding up their performances, because I know Walker can give a very lively performance, but he's making them go bland. The color grading is bland, and the camera positioning is just not great. If we fix those things, if we amp that up, style that up, give it some sauce, that'll just add that extra oomph on top of the writing that I know is going to be really solid. So I think that's what we should do. Hopefully they do that. We get to see the stars again, my lady. Luke and Thalia doomed. I'm excited for the angst, bro. Genuinely. Internally, I hope they all knew season 2 would be kind of like this, and know they're gonna cook in the future. Maybe, honestly, maybe because Sea of Monsters is the worst book. I don't know, but Percy did numbers season 1, crazy numbers. So we'll see. All I was trying to say is Sea of Monsters was a low point for the 5 books, so it was a struggle that this show had to go through in order to slam on the gas for season 3 and onward. Live forever. Yeah, 100%. So hopefully they pick it back up, and it turns out to be great. Hopefully that's what happens. I mean, hopefully people come back for all. I mean, I think it's gonna be good regardless. But what we really need is people to come back for season 3, and hopefully Disney does enough to give that to be a thing that allows them to easily come back. So yeah. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it. Advertise season 3 so we can see Calypso, bro. Oh my god, Battle of the Labyrinth. Don't get me started on Battle of the Labyrinth, bro. Another top 3 scene in Percy Jackson. Both the volcano scene and the Calypso Island chapter. The Calypso Island chapter is one of my favorite chapters in the entire series. That chapter was so great, bro. Anyways, let me. I could go on and on. Yeah, like it really goes like freaking Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, Titan's Curse, Battle of the Labyrinth, The Last Olympian. Like they're just so much better. Not that island. Am I thinking of the wrong thing? Is Calypso not on that island? Am I thinking of something else? Because that island chapter is like that girl that's like, oh, we can stay forever and be awesome, Percy Jackson. There was a lot of promo for season 2, so I wonder if they lost money from that or from people not tuning into the show. I don't remember being that much promotion. Maybe I missed it. I mean, the promotion is if they didn't get enough viewers, they definitely lost money. For sure they did, because the promotion had to be top. But yeah, am I thinking of Calypso is the island girl, right? Like tell me I'm right about. There's no way I forgot that. I'm like, it has to be. Also, my goat Rachel Elizabeth Dare coming in season 3. Do we get a Rachel Elizabeth Dare casting? Hold on, Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Percy Jackson cast. Sadie Sink is not going to play Rachel Elizabeth Dare. You don't have to calm down with these garbage fan castings. Okay, so she hasn't been cast. What a stupid, dumb thing to say. What a dumb, stupid, dumb thing to say. This guy's talking about Rachel's not gonna be cast. Okay, guy. I swear they better not cut her character. Rachel, I can see there is a world where Rachel doesn't show up in season 3 and only shows up in season 4. The fuck? Did I just break something? Okay, no, it's fine. There is a world where that happens, but I don't want to live in that world. Foreshadow Rachel. It's gonna be really funny. It's gonna be funny when she shows up in season 3 and then just doesn't come back until season 4. That's one of my favorite parts about that book. But anyways. I could talk about this forever. I don't really have anything to do, but I am gonna go watch a show. I don't know which one I'm gonna watch yet, but I am gonna do that. So, whoever they cast better be the sassiest character yet. Rachel, y'all know this. I love Rachel. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here. Thank you everybody for joining and chatting along with me. Appreciate you. Make the streams a lot of fun. We will be streaming on Sunday, One Piece for the first 30 minutes, and then after that we're gonna be doing a bunch of random stuff. So if you want to join, do that. But yeah, until next time, end the stream. See you guys.